Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Yeah, I came across a disturbing interview of ENQI'S doctrine, because he likes to be called Dr. ENQI, but according to Google, a doctor is a qualified practitioner of medicine, a physician, a person who holds a doctorate. That's not him. So I don't want to call him, I don't want to misrepresent and call him doctor, but I will give him three letters of that word, DOC. Actually, four, DOCT. I call him Doctrine Inky and Doctrine Ali Muhammad, Doctrine Sebi, Doctrine Phil Valentine's, a whole bunch of them. It's an epidemic of these guys. So they have, I call them doctrine, then their name because they don't practice medicine or have a doctorate degree in anything, but they do have a doctrine to teach from, to indoctrinate you from. That's why I call them doctrine and who they are. So the interview is very disturbing because he is really trying to sound less pseudo and so scientific and all this goofy stuff. So what I did was I pulled up some information of my own, some fact checks of my own. Okay, so let me go ahead and bring them to this tab. Where are they? Okay, yeah, because he's gonna make a bunch of claims. He's gonna misrepresent certain scientific studies. So I want to have those things on deck. Just goofy. And don't forget the audience that they speak to, which are black people. We're not the most educated, people in the basket. You dig? So if it sounds good or if it sounds plausible to us, we will normally take a bite. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, I think it's called. They understood that also black folks was given home loans that sounded too good to be true based upon your current income. Your income did not suffice the loan of the home, so it just sounded too good to be true. And all we wanted to hear was that we can get the home. That's all. How you gonna pay for it? You're on your own. That's pretty much what that was. Yeah, we'll get you the home. And how you gonna maintain it? That's your problem. Just sign right here, and here you go. Like kind of how you get the car sometimes. Ricardo Robinson, piece from London, England. Sonetta is responsible for most of the pseudo information on these YouTube streets. That so-called interview with Inky and that. Yeah, it was disturbing, bro. I'm telling y'all, listen, Ricardo, I still didn't watch it all, bro. I'm about to throw up watching that shit. I was really, really just disturbed, man. I was really just cringing. Like, what the fuck? Like, what are you talking? It was just horrible, man. Just horrible. Rob Rich Sr., he made the claim that he killed a guy. He said that dude name is a shout out. Oh, he mentioned the name in the shout out. Yeah, so now when I read off some things, we'll see if he cured anybody. So people can make, they always make the most crazy claims possible, the shocking claims. How about how about my treatment for diabetes is better than your doctor? Something like that, like a challenge, because we're going to add this herb to your medication and it soothes doctors don't use herbs, something like that. Okay. Still kind of crazy, but you're not a witch doctor at that point. You're not a witch doctor. But we can cure HIV and AIDS. Dr. Alim, now he's a real doctor. Dr. Alim Muhammad, Alim. Alim Muhammad is from the Nation of Islam. He's different from Dr. Ali, like Muhammad Ali. Ali Muhammad, doctrine Ali Muhammad is from the conscious community. Dr. Ali Muhammad really put the work in, but again, when you're part of this Nation of Islam organization, that cult, which this is why I got a problem with it, because they produce pseudos. Look at Dr. West Muhammad now. Like, so they'll get somebody. That's why I don't respect when people say, hey man, they cleaned up soon, so they cleaned up. No, you don't clean anybody up. Because if you clean up the have-nots to give them a chance to make some money for themselves, then you muddy up the people who are clean. So the people actually go to school the right way and come with a sound degree and sound information. You muddy them up with your conspiracy theories. So you can't in one part clean people up and then dirty people up who come with the correct information, because you have to buy into the conspiracy theories, or Islam can't. They don't need you. You can't service them. So Dr. West Muhammad, commissioned by the most honorable, Your Majesty, the Pope Father, Louis Farrakhan, has commissioned Dr. West Muhammad on this Who Killed Malcolm X. I mean, it's something that we're like, some of us don't even give a damn anymore. But I would rather, it's like Milli Vanilli. Like that, like they had the look. So the singers, they pretty much had to give them the song to make it go pop, and they collect whatever they get from the back end. The back end. That's the real back end, by the way. They're collecting the money from the back end because they were that's their vocals. But Milli Vanilli had the look, and they got all the awards, right? Because they had the look. So the Nation of Islam representatives, they don't have the look to try to disprove or prove Malcolm X killers. They should be sliding that to somebody else who don't have a dog in a fight necessarily, and have them look over it, and then they pitch it. I'm telling you, as long as the Nation of Islam is involved in the investigations, that's like the police department doing internal affairs on themselves. Like, who trusts that? You did? Come on, man. Like, stop. Nobody trusts that. Rasta, peace. The Watcher, peace. Yeah, man. So I didn't get to the part where he claimed he cured somebody, which is cap, without even, I ain't even hear it. I'm calling cap. I don't give a damn. You did, cap. Yeah, so Sister in the Pot, like I said, I didn't watch the whole thing because I was about to throw up. But I don't know what she did to him later, but maybe she lullabied him to sleep and then got on him. I don't know. But it seemed like she was co-signing, stamping, certifying doctrine, ENQI'S, doctrine, not doctor. I'm saying doctrine, like a doctrine. Okay, doctrine, ENQI'S, throughout the interview. And that was like pissing me off even more. Like, I hope she lullabied him to sleep to attack his information. So let me know, Ricardo, and whoever else watched it. Did she go against it at some point? Or did she like really ride the wave that his information, his practices really work? So let me show you what I'm talking about. And I'm going to, where's No Man? Because I want No Man to see that. I'm going to be actually making spaghetti in the background. You dig? Hey, yo, spaghetti, not only does it fill you up, but it's really costly efficient. Dig? It's really like you can make as many noodles you want. And the noodles, I get the whole wheat pasta, but you get whatever you want. I don't like angel hair because it's too thin, but I do like thin. I don't like regular because they're, okay, the noodle type from last time I was trying to say, the Watcher, was linguine. So certain occasions you can use linguine and it tastes pretty good. All right. Of course, the elbow noodles, but that's like beefaroni. But for as far as spaghetti, sometimes you can slide in linguine noodles. I want to say that before I forget again. And but I can't. The regular ones a little too thick. Angel hair too thin. But thin noodles. I like the whole wheat. You can do, but there's so many different like grains of noodles. It's not just white or wheat. They got a whole bunch of noodles. Some I tried, but it's difficult to cook with because there's a lot of trial and error. Because I know my whole wheat takes 10 minutes exactly to be perfect. So I told you my secret. But I don't know the time frame for the other noodles. That's like a different alternative, like a healthy alternative. Like you guys know so many things. I can't think of any off the top. But so I'd be too hungry to do the trial and error. You dig? Like I gotta try that when I already just ate. Like maybe if I had a sub in advance, I could try it then. But like right now, I'm too hungry to be doing a trial and error. And usually when I eat, to be honest, usually when I'm always hungry. I only eat when I'm hungry. So that's just a, for something out there, if you had to take heed to, I only eat when I'm hungry. Like really. I wait till I'm actually hungry. I don't just like be chilling and make sure I'm eating and no. I gotta, like I am right now, I gotta actually be hungry. So I typically eat around this time. If I eat any later, it's because I'm running around. So I didn't really want to eat later. I'm starting to get a headache now, hunger headache. So I'll say around 2 to 5 p.m. is when I normally make my first meal. If I do anything before that, it's coffee. Okay, just going down a rabbit hole. But yeah, I just want to close that chapter first. But yeah, so really cost efficient. So if y'all got 6, 7, 8, and 10, 9, 10-year-olds, that's a quick meal of beefaroni. Beefaroni is spaghetti. You use everything. You just use the elbow noodle. Same thing. Okay, pure black peace. Yeah, the pasta game is a water time. Yep, facts. You got to step it up to prep game. Now that's facts. Like I said, for me, being the sole person that prepare my meals, I only eat when I'm hungry, and that's a bad thing because I can never. And I can say never. Sometimes, again, if it's early in the day, like if it's 1, 2 o'clock, I can get some peppers and do something different, some garlic. Do something different. But around this time right here, this 4 p.m., this late afternoon, early evening type time, forget about it. I ain't trying to wait. And this is when I usually mess up and spend money because I'll be like, yo, man, I'm about to get some Chipotle. You did, because I'm just like, I gotta eat now. Get a few more years until little ones wipe out all internal clock and previously programmed. All right, so let me play a little bit of the Swazi.
And without any further ado, I bring to you the family. What's going on, Nepal Sadar? How you doing?
Peace, King. Peace, family. Peace to the darkest minds of the light. And of course, last but not least, peace to our guest, Dr. ENQI. How are you?
I had a girl, he just went to sleep. So I said, let me go live now. Because sometimes I mess up and go live in the middle of sleep or at the end of it and we get too early. So let me go live as soon as he went to sleep. So he get used to the noise, the talking and stuff.
You can't hear you. Can't hear you. Let me unmute you. Go ahead. You unmuted.
Yeah. I'm in the building. I'm good. American Healing Project is doing well. So, we just out here trying to raise awareness about this free school online we got right now. So that's like the main thing. So let me just say this. If I look at y'all over here.
And I don't know anything about the school, but we also got to stop being triggered by certain words that just makes us feel so, charitable. Like the school thing, the farm thing. These are red flags. I agree with ex-architect. Some of his talking points we agree. When I hear anybody that's cousin to, folk to, kin to,
the conscious community. And when y'all say farm, y'all say school, I know it's bullshit. Now, if you don't know anything about this community and you say it, I take you serious. But if you are aware of this community and you say farm or school, I know it's bullshit. Like, because those are the pity words that makes everybody charitable and donate. Listen, you don't need a farm. You don't got to feed the man. You're not Jesus. Just feed yourself. You just need a backyard. Acres will be good. Things like that. But you don't need to buy a whole farm. Okay. Walmart will do. ShopRite. All these places will do. America is not going to crumble anytime soon. And I know what your doctrine says. I know what your religious leader has told you. I know what your cult leader have told you. But it's okay. You dig? You ain't got to feed the masses. Decent.
Here, this the camera, but if I look away over here, don't think I'm like,
You know if it's too low.
or doing nothing crazy.
It's
This is
not-
where my laptop
Right,
is. So in order to
Right,
see
right.
side the far, I got to look over here and then look at y'all over there. But yeah, we're just trying to get the word out and get people as much as information as
Trying to make the spaghetti so you can't smell it. Maybe you want my food now.
possible. We see a lot of crazy stuff going on. Puerto Rico flooded, Mississippi flooded, and then, you know, you folks that voted for Joe Biden, Biden sending billions of dollars to the Ukraine. So the people in Mississippi, the black
Good no,
folks,
ma'am.
Spanish folks.
Bigger no, ma'am. I'm making and today's Friday. I don't gotta work, so it's 2 pieces there. I can send a link. No, ma'am. You know, y'all can chime in and, you know, build whatever. It's okay. I work on Fridays. Not for my, let me change that. I don't work for myself on Fridays. So if I work in the corporate world or, you know, something like that, yeah, I will work on a Friday. But right now, just self-employment. So I don't work, I don't work for myself on Fridays and Sundays. All right. So that's my schedule for myself for like 8 years.
That's what Biden is telling us to do with this flood. So
Yeah, that's crazy.
all kind of crazy.
So, brother, this is an important topic that we're going to be talking about. And one of the things that, you know, YouTube is very strict on is pseudo information when it pertains to the health of people.
So no, ma'am, I'm making my spaghetti in the background. yeah. Listen, he be trying. He's fast. Yeah, he'll smack that. You try to, man. He'll smack it out your hand quick or grab your plate quick. Yo, he smacked my, listen, and it was spaghetti again. I made vegetarian spaghetti. No. Was it? Yeah, I think it was, because it's easy to pick up. He smacked the whole plate on the floor one late night, some 10, 11 p.m. Man, I wanted to scream so loud. Listen, y'all can say what y'all want. But I scooped up all that spaghetti from the rug to the plate, ate all that. I ain't look at nothing. I just ate it. I was not going to take that L and starve until the morning, because I don't eat food in the morning. So I'm gonna be double hungry. You dig? I gotta get like a super coffee. So yes, I definitely scooped that spaghetti off the rug, every last noodle onto the plate, and ate it like it never fell. You damn right.
Not black people, not white people, not brown people
in general.
People, brother. And so they are strict on that. And this is why I'm so happy that I have the queen, the Parshada, in the building to check brothers when they tend to go off, you know? So YouTube don't play. They take channels. And you should know that. You should know that by now. And so shout out to Jay Quill. Shout out to Letitia Bush. Shout out to Rose R. Shout out to everybody. KD, Michelle, all my moderators in the building. Peace and blessings.
Let me get to the Inky talk.
I'll see if she want to start this thing off. Maybe
4-minute rule. Carpets be banned. Yeah, I'm trying to tell you, man. I was not gonna take that late. I was hungry as hell, man. That just was of a Neanderthal.
maybe with a question or say something.
Sure.
Y'all funny.
Thank you. You know, you're reading my mind. I did want to start off with a question to Dr. Inky. I see what Sonetter has behind him. I know you talked about your project. No, you said it's the, correct me on this, forgive me. You said the American,
right?
Say the name of the project one more time.
American Healer.
American Healing Project. Okay. You talk about You've got diabetes.
I do want to say this, you know, for those who are like the health nuts, ENQI, Ali Muhammad, I mean, the time they put in researching this stuff, they could have had a doc, they could have been an MD by now. And I'm not saying they had to be in the actual field. They could have been like Dr. Ali Muhammad. At least you could have been a real doctor, like, you know what I mean, a physician, a medical doctor, you know what I mean? Like, you could have been an MD, for real, for real. No more trying to get people to believe you and things like that.
Diabetes
Thanks.
on your forefront, talking about the
Excuse me for a minute. Hold it down, Nepal. Hold it down. I got a big
Okay.
giant ass mosquito came through the screen. I
Oh,
gotta
I
get
thought
that
you-
bad boy.
I was dying. That sound like me, right? When I be outside.
Okay, it looked like he was pointing at this at the
Yeah.
banner, the diabetes signs. So you talk about diabetes. So just to kick it off, give us some information on what you've been doing to combat the plague, or actually this epidemic, right, of diabetes in our community especially. Talk to us about that.
All right, so I guess I got to go kind of rewind back to last year. A lot of confusion.
Yeah, I need Nepal to admit that Margaret Sanger is all right. You know, until she does that, her research got to be a little suspect. And anybody in the chat would think Margaret Sanger was evil, just post some links. I click them and read them. But remember, you fall on your sword, you die at your source. If the link is foo-foo, it reflects you.
Confusion and foolishness. And so that kind of led me to take a hiatus this winter and just kind of stay in the house with the children. And so throughout that period, I was able to kind of sort through everything that we had accomplished with the 40-day fast over the past 9-10 years or so. And I put out an article. And one of the, so the first part we're going to talk about is the information piece real quick, and then I'll turn it back over to you. But so the first thing was the article. And in the article, I had put forward some radical, revolutionary findings in terms of insulin not being the key regulator in glucose homeostasis, that melanin concentrating hormone was actually the master hormone in the body in charge of glucose homeostasis. And it took a lot of people back because they were like, bro, where you coming from with this? You're making up stuff, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I just had to give people time so that they could go back. Because I had nurses, doctors, I had people.
Here we go. So, you know, we learned from Spanish that when you use the verb infinitive a or e or e, it's ambiguous. We don't know who you're talking about. So it's ambiguous. You got to be specific. So that's why we can't say they. You know, learning Spanish will tell you, you just can't say they or use that. Like you can't say habla, because that could be you, second person. It could be a third person. It could be a woman, a man. It could be a dog, or whoever. It's very ambiguous. You have to say so and so habla, and then you can say habla for it on, because we got the subject. Uh-oh.
That had been diabetics.
So he says they, and then he tells us who the they is. That's backwards.
20-30. I had nurses, doctors, I had people that had been diabetics 20, 30, 40 years, and they had never heard of melanin concentrated hormone at all. And so I had to give people time to actually.
So he knows more than doctors, right? They never heard of it that you had. Okay.
Pull it up, look it up, jump down that rabbit hole. And then people started coming back, you know, like, yo, this is insane. How did we not know this all this time? And how does a guy from the neighborhood raising 5, like, how do you find this and not this person or that person or this facility or these, you know? So that was probably the main linchpin to this whole American healer thing that kind of developed. So I started to get a lot of serious attention on the article. The article's still up, DrENQI.com. People can read it. In the article, I also talk about the discrepancy between the ATP that's produced and the amount of energy that the body uses. There's always been a missing amount of energy. And so we kind of address that in the article, and all of these things are getting attention. And so we put together a documentary, and from the documentary, the documentary kind of grows into the release. We get the mayor and city council of New York and Peekskill to cut a ribbon for us and basically bring us in to expound further to to another skeptical group, mind you. It's not like these people are like bringing me in like, oh no, this is the Jesus of science. They bringing me in like, yeah, we're gonna bring our sharpest minds to have you elaborate this stuff that you're saying, because it sounds, you know, it's incredible if it's true. And so that happened. We released the documentary. We released the
he's reading scientific research, so that science didn't know it herself. It took you to read it and interpret it the right way.
Reasonable doubt lecture. Then we did a 40-hour, it was supposed to be a 24-hour marathon, just because it is so much information. It's not easy to teach this kind of stuff in like a 1 hour or 2 hour setting. So I wanted to give people like a 20, but that expanded and we wound up going for about 40 hours straight. And then of course we put together a free biochemistry school online normally it's $240 a year, but I made it free for.
Being a DIY landlord is
normally I charge. Don't say it costs that. Say normally I charge $240.
Not easy. And being a tenant can sometimes feel overwhelming.
For everybody to join and kind of learn and get this information at home. You know, so we're combating it via getting the information out on a professional level, via articles, interviews, etc. Getting politicians involved, trying to see if we can build funding and school programs. But on the other side, we're also making sure that, like, I don't want anybody to feel like I left the community. So for the community, I created a free online school for adults and children. And before I leave, I'll put the info up so people will know where that's at. Yeah, and then also one of the craziest pieces, and then after this, I'll turn it back over to you. One of the craziest things is
he needs a biochemistry class, but he's going to teach one.
Actually have some herbs that are scientifically documented.
Okay, now I don't know what that means. You got to watch their little goofy language. Herbs scientifically documented. It's always some herbs because he's against, modern Western medicine. So it's going to always be herbs. So he has a bias like no other. It cannot be current medicine. It's the herbs.
That are, we actually have some herbs that are scientifically documented to regrow beta cells. And this is like probably the craziest thing that I said that people were like scrutinizing. But I show in the documentary the team of scientists from Mount Sinai. This is $1 billion science team. This wasn't my discovery.
And they always throw the money. It's either the science team is worth $1 billion or a billionaire got them together to do something, or the book costs $1 billion. There's always something that they always bring money into it. Like the money stamps the research.
It's actually a sister and I'm gonna say a guy from the Orient. He could be Filipino, he could be Korean, he could be Chinese. But that tandem, along with another couple, but that was the main two, they made the initial discovery of DIRC1A, which is the molecule that actually inhibits your beta cells from regrowing after you reach like 7 years old or so. And then they also found harmine, Harmine. I'm spelling that so that the people at home can be able to pull this up and understand, you know what I'm saying? Because it's going to sound gold chain, gold teeth, blonde hair. So I get it. Harmine. It's called harmine. It is an
I can't let
alkaloid.
that off. He trying to act like we're gonna stereotype him because gold chain, gold teeth. He acting like that's what's causing us to like doubt him. It ain't that, my boy. Is that you don't have the degree to speak on this stuff. That's what caused the doubts. Okay, and then you're going against what the world is saying. Like, dude, stop it. This new cure. That's what we're doubting, not the gold teeth, the gold chains, and all that stuff.
Found in plants. Now that part of the research is mine. I'll get to that in a second. But
he did his own research. All right. So now we a scientist now. So he went past just being a physician. Now he's a damn scientist. All right. He's out in the field doing his own research, testing things. And don't worry, I got something for him. Show tabs at the top. I got something for him.
A team from Mount Sinai about 3 or 4 years ago, they discovered that harmine can neutralize DIRC1A. And when DIRC1A is neutralized, your body...
He keeps saying a team. You think he don't know the name of those people? Come on, stop. You know he knows. Because what we do is we always try to find one out of like 1,000 scientists, 999, out of 1,000 scientists, 999 goes with, disagrees with him. He'll find one scientist that agrees, and that's all it takes. That one overrides the 999.
Your pancreas can start to regenerate beta cells. Now, obviously, they're doing this research for pharmaceutical companies, and they'll have a drug ready for folks sometime pretty soon in the future.
Now, he was being sarcastic right there. He said, look, so that's his attack at, I guess, Big Pharma. Hold on.
And they'll have a drug ready. Now, obviously, they're doing this research for pharmaceutical companies.
So they're doing it. So I mean, dude, you see where he's going at? So this group that's doing this research, they're doing it for a pharmaceutical company. And he's saying, I guess that's like the conspiracy, because now they're going to take the information and they're going to put it in a drug, no bad drugs, pills and liquids. That's also terrible. And they'll have it for you in 4 years. So don't take that because Big Pharma, you can't trust them.
And beta cells. Now, obviously, they're doing this research for pharmaceutical companies, and they'll have a drug ready for folks sometime pretty soon in the future. My thing was understanding that most medications are plant-based or plant extracts to try and reverse engineer that process and find the plants that they were extracting the harmine alkaloids from, and we were able to do that. And you know, we've been having some great results.
But no, you're not going to have great results, because the reason why they take out the plant, because you don't need the whole damn plant. They extract the active ingredient, the AI. I mean the AI. What do we call it? Active ingredient. Yeah. No, we call it the pharmaceutical active ingredient. But whatever. Yeah, they extract that. You don't need the rest of the plant. You just take what you need and discard the rest of it.
Results with them. So there are 3 different plants and 1 seaweed that we use.
I get the seaweed. Can't do without the seaweed.
Did you stop?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So you gave us a lot of information. I would really urge people to check the science out. I love how you are being very, I guess.
I mean, that's irresponsible. We cannot check the science out. You know, when we was doing the whole jab thing, we shared the screen. You probably looked up some stuff for your own. Reading scientific journals are not easy. Okay. That thing is difficult because a lot of the language is unfamiliar. It's foreign. So you got to research the language to even understand what they're saying. No. That's we can't tell laymen and laywomen just when it comes to science, just follow up with research. No, you don't know how to research. It's hard. There's a lot there. It's a lot. You're talking to people who don't read anything. 1 line, 2 lines, and you're talking about, y'all see the websites, 6, 7, 8 pages, 10, 20. Nobody's reading that. It's for our community. It sounds good. It's good enough.
I should say, not just careful, but responsible with the way you're saying the information about the harmine and the pancreas, the pancreatic cells. So that's awesome information about the regeneration of pancreatic cells. Concerning, now you said this is your research, right? This is your research?
His research.
Yeah, the research on the actual plants that they extracted them from and all of that kind of stuff to create the herbal form.
Let me read some of these comments. Indigenous is here. I love how Sonetta never asked his guests for sources. Check the science out for what? It was really, really bad. Yeah, those papers can only be read by some people who are really doing the work. Yeah, they're gonna keep calling back and forth, these cameras. Here comes y'all crazy. Reading books not gonna help read it. Yeah, exactly. Like, come on, like that's not wise, intelligent, responsible tips for people who barely read anything. To read a scientific article, come on, something they're not. Do you know how hard it is for all of us right now to read something that we know we need to read, but because it's not a natural interest, we gotta feed ourselves to read that stuff. We start getting sleepy. We make up excuses not to read it. That's anything. That's why we're not rich now. That's why we're not smart now, because we find ways to put it off. Right. So imagine these people who are illiterate when it comes to scientific research and information. You're going to tell them to pick up a scientific article and read it for themselves, something they're not interested in at all and it's difficult to read. Man, they won't get past the damn headline.
Is me. But like I said, a sister and another brother actually made the discovery of DIRC1A and then also harmine in terms of being able to neutralize DIRC1A.
Awesome. Can we go back to what you, this is all very exciting, cutting edge information to what you,
from
generation. So that's awesome information about the regeneration of pancreatic cells.
All right, so let me get back to where I left off at. Here we go.
Cutting edge science, cutting edge medicine. And I love that you're embarking on this for, it's not just about you as a doctor and a scientist, but it's to help people with diabetes. Can we go back to what you were talking about, the neuropeptides? I think you said it was a melanin
concentrating hormone.
Awesome.
Melanin concentrating hormone. Yep.
Right. And those are, okay, so I do know this much about, I don't know the full science, like I want to definitely research it now, but how can we as people, we know it's present, that it is present in our bodies. I heard once that it was being harvested. I don't know how much of this is conspiracy theory or just you can maybe clear it up if it's factual.
No, they sell it. They harvested
from the spleen. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
you're right.
But when you say harvested, that's what makes
I shouldn't say harvested. You know what I'm saying? Right. I just told you about being responsible.
No, yeah, but they're definitely selling it, and you can go to some websites and purchase it. You know what I'm saying? Melanin concentrating hormone, melanin stimulating hormone, which are the two. They kind of counterbalance in the brain. But yeah, they definitely sell them. They sell melanin itself. So yeah, everything's for sale. Everything's for sale. It's just we're not really putting the major problem is that the problems that we encounter as a people, we're waiting for another group of people to figure those problems out for us. You know what I'm saying? It's just like
Put that in.
And that's never going to happen. That's the thing that we got to understand. There's not going to be a group of white folks or Indian folks or Chinese folks or Germans.
Spoiler alert. Well, he already did it, so I might as well just spoil you even worse. Yeah, we're gonna go back into the melanin thing. Black folks, skin complexion, we're just the best. Okay, we are the best. We won't be on crack more than 2 years. White folks be on crack forever. Heroin, we're not addicted to heroin. We can't be an alcoholic. We got all this melanin power. If we get shot, it gotta be 60 times. It can't be 4 times because we will live.
Or whatever that comes along and figures out type 2 diabetes or diabetes in general, because it's our problem. Just
he said, I'm like the OG concrete core. I hear melanin in my eyes gloss over. Hi-Fi say he's still in IBM information from 2 years ago. I got something for Indigenous that he should take and do more investigation on some sound information that fits his narrative rather than trying to connect dots.
Just like fatty liver disease is the equivalent problem in the Hispanic community. Like they're gonna have to, they got to figure that thing out. You know what I'm saying? Like we got to figure this thing out. So for me, it always plagued my mind that, and this is House of Consciousness. We know where we at. You know what I'm saying? So we've had a zillion conversations where we talked about melanin and all this kind of stuff. And, I forgot the doctor's name, the scientist that discovered that, Black people from African genes are dominant genes. And
okay, so there we go. So there you go. He went there with it. He forgot the scientist's name. Either he's talking about Mendel law or he's talking about leaky. But the dominant gene, I'll touch on that because that's more Blackology, this dominant gene. I mean, you can't even research that. You type that in your engine right now. Black's dominant gene, white. It's not. It don't even make sense.
Black conversations where we talked about melanin and all this kind of stuff, and I forgot the doctor's name, the scientist that discovered that Black people from African genes are dominant genes and recessive genes. Like we've had all those conversations, but in my mind, the thing that drove me crazy during that process and beyond is how is it that the people with dominant genes have a 10-year shorter lifespan?
Okay, so now he took that out, this dominant gene. We got to stop that talking point. Right? There's nothing about you more dominant than somebody else, right? Unless you're in the sun, I don't know. But that doesn't make you a more dominant human being. Doesn't make you smarter. None of that stuff. Like there's disadvantages for everybody. Like this dominant gene. So that's not an absolute dominant gene in you. Stop it. And I'm gonna go over that. I'll pull that up too. We're gonna talk about this dominant gene stuff in a minute.
That don't make sense to me. And how is it that people with dominant genes have a 200% higher risk factor for metabolic illness? And for the people at home that may not understand, metabolic illness is not illness that you're born with. So the fact that you have dominant genes means that you should be able to go throughout your life and have less maladies, less trouble, less neuro.
Hold on. Let me hit this fool again.
So the fact that you have dominant genes means
you don't have dominant genes. Like everybody has dominant genes inside of them and recessive genes. That's oh my God. But he's supposed to be the expert. And I would think that he would know that that's not what it means. Like you're not dominant. You don't have dominant, and you can't even find that. The whole dominant gene stuff. Go ask Jeeves, ask Google, ask anybody. Blacks have more dominant genes than whites, and how is that an advantage for us? Does it make us smarter? Like, what does it do for us? Can we retain information longer? Like, there has to be an advantage. Like, let's say if that stuff is true, what advantage is that what advantage it is for us? Like, what can we do with that and be a greater human race? Like, come on, man. It's goofy Superman feel good stuff.
Means that you should be able to go throughout your life and have less maladies, less trouble, less neuro,
And by the way, when I looked up the dominant gene goofy stuff, a scientist pointed out sickle cell anemia. That's recessive traits. So I guess white folks would be more dominant. They have a more dominant gene when it comes to sickle cell anemia than black folks.
Disease, brain disease, less heart disease. That's what dominant genes implies. But all of the statistics point in the other direction. So I wanted to try to like figure that out because, some of the statistics surrounding diabetes was crazy for me as a black guy. When I say a black man, I don't just mean like a person of African American, like I mean dark-skinned person. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, respect to the Drakes and the Chris Browns, I'm not talking about y'all exact. I mean, like, like beginning at Sarnetta's complexion, going further. You know what I'm saying?
That's double black
like
dark.
That dark. You know what I'm saying?
That's triple darkness.
A 200% risk factor, in my mind, almost was like a certainty for me to have a complication or die, or my children. I have 10 children. So when I hear statistics like this, it's almost like they're guaranteeing that a certain percentage of my children.
And that decision right there to have 10 kids in this modern day and age, like even that's like pseudo. It's like, dude, for what?
Are predestined to die from diabetes. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that really prompted me to like try to get to the bottom of what it was. And on the surface issue, I couldn't really see any differences between us and all the other groups of people besides our pigment. So that's just the first area I started to look at, and it wound up paying off dividends because the first thing I did was dig into the A1C. And when I dug into the A1C to really understand.
Now, when I was listening to this, he's raising 10 pseudos, DJ Focus. Oh my God. Hey, yo, when I was listening to this, I'm like, he's saying it as this research is just lying around collecting dust, and the boogeyman white scientists don't want to touch it because it illuminate the black race. So let's just leave that research on the table, leave it alone, don't touch it. So many black scientists out there, so many black doctors, and they're just all part of the conspiracy. They don't want to touch it. They're just gonna play ball. And it's gonna take Doctrine ENQI'S to come and read this stuff and then push the needle. Cool.
What that was and what that process was and what that test is testing, I found out that it's testing the local pigment, which is your hemoglobin, but that all of the various types of pigment throughout your body suffer from diabetes. And this is why you have the illnesses that pop up or the loss of function, like going deaf or losing your eyesight, whether it's retinopathy or glaucoma.
Okay, can you?
Freedom Boat Club.
I'm challenge some of this stuff in a second.
Here's how it works. First, we do all the work. We buy and maintain a fleet of...
Can you hear me? Oh, great. I'm not
Yes,
hearing
ma'am.
you.
Yes, he's serious.
So much runs through my mind when I'm hearing you. I want to talk to you about holistic healing. I love that you asked that question. I didn't even get to my finish asking you about the MCH, but let me talk to you about, see what you think. I'm going to throw something against the wall and see if it sticks here. So,
no saint the other white guy. No, that's not true. I had pre-diabetes. Many people have all you have it. I missed his claim. He might have said this is a black man thing. I don't even know.
So, see what you think. I'm going to throw. Let me talk to you about, see what you think. I'm going to throw something against the wall and see if it sticks here.
Okay, you're going to see if it sticks. All right.
So I, for a few years, have focused on when I try to help some of my clients with illness, a lot of chronic illness, a lot of autoimmune disease. I talked to them about cortisol and
I didn't know Nepal was into this healing stuff too. All right. But this is why they probably know the same information.
adrenaline, and that being at the core of all of our illnesses. So when you were talking about how is it that our specific people are the sickest, but we also have that great neuropeptide that's there for us, and it's from what you say, for in a very crude way, I'll say, for lack of better words, it's the miracle healing chemical for us. So
is that the melanin thing? The melanin doctrine?
let me talk to you about holistic.
You ever see those shirts got melanin with the question mark? Yeah, anything. Yeah, I hate seeing that shit. Like, I'll be so embarrassed. Like, hope everybody black around here. Hope nobody non-black. Oh my God, so embarrassing. Got melanin. Oh,
Healing, like the mind and like
crazy.
even slave trauma. Do you ever look at that while you're doing all your conventional science and say, okay, let me factor this into the whys of Black people, progeny of slaves? Does that ever work into your research?
Hold on. I'm a write down this because I want to say that you on right now. You on fire with this one. But definitely, let me start with the big definitely. So
if ENQI'S
now we can let down out here, because this, I guess, where we're going to start to unpack this stuff, right? So when I start going deeper into the diabetes, obviously, if you're going into diabetes, the first area you want to touch is sugar.
What you came across,
right?
Yes.
And so
Yes.
the sugar thing opened up a whole can of worms for me, because one of the pet peeves that I had. One of the pet peeves I have, period, in general, is people playing with science like they really know it. And, over the years, there's certain little things that people say and repeat that is wrong, but they repeat it and in a matter-of-fact way. And so I'm like, and I tell you the main one that used to drive me crazy, and I'll relate it to our story. When people say that melanin does photosynthesis, or that melanin is human chlorophyll, or melanin is the human version, like, that all drives me crazy, because it's super, super, super inaccurate. And it comes from a Spanish guy named Arturo Herrera. And he only does lectures like to non-Black groups about melanin, which drives me crazy.
Here we go.
But I've thoroughly vetted all his work, and
if you black, you're not invited. Now, he thoroughly vetted his work. Come on, man. Now you're the peer review guy.
About melanin, which drives me crazy. But I've thoroughly vetted all his work, and it is definitely thoroughly incorrect. I've read his paper.
All right, so that's the ENQI. He ain't certified. ENQI ain't certified. He vetted it. He thoroughly vetted it. I'm sure. If he didn't say anything about herbs as a cure, you failed. F.
I've purchased and read his book. It is absolutely incorrect. And I'll come back to him in just a second. We're going to go to our boy Christopher Columbus. So when I look up the sugar, the first thing that I find out about sugar was that Christopher Columbus is famous for sugar. A lot of us know Christopher Columbus for supposedly discovering a place. And we all kind of had like a knee-jerk reaction when we were kids, like, wait a minute, how can you discover a place where people are? You know what I'm saying? Like, but the reason why he's famous is not because of that. It's because Christopher Columbus is responsible for the trillions and trillions, I would say quadrillions of dollars that they have been able to make from the sugar business, because he was the one that brought over the first sugar plants, because that wasn't really, that wasn't native here. He brung those with him. And so a lot of what we know as slavery in that whole period, especially me being Haitian, even the Haitian Revolution, I found out, was partly based around this sugar thing.
Sugar,
the biggest sugar plantation originally was in Haiti, before we got them up out of there with that sugar, because the sugar was decimating the island. So back then, we knew that sugar was destroying Black folks, and that's why Haitians got them up out of there off that island. But they also had a long time to understand how dangerous sugar is. So like, there's a lot of things that
This is wild.
is already in books, already documented. It's just we're not aware of it, and we're the ones primarily affected. So it's not important enough for anybody else to address. Like the fact that you take a perfectly healthy boy or man, girl or woman, and you put them in the sugar field, and they will only live for 7 years before the sugar completely kills them. And so now we're in a space where we don't know that, and we voluntarily inundate ourselves with this product. And, you know, so that was the whole crazy thing. Now, to bring it back to our boy with the fake photosynthesis program that a lot of people just flipping and bouncing, the end product of photosynthesis is the creation of sugar. So there is no melanin being the human photosynthesis, because photosynthesis ends with a fruit. It ends with another plant. It ends with a piece of vegetation. It ends with a carbohydrate. The process of photosynthesis is taking sunlight to make sugar. So melanin does not take sunlight to make sugar. This is one of the earliest discoveries that I made, even when my daughter had an accident that led to me making my first formulas back then for that situation. Was
yeah, what about the debate that Doctrine Ali Muhammad had, and he said that he found a star. He found a star. So he was circling something. It was like hilarious. And he had it in the debate. I found this star. They always finding something no man's ever found. No woman's ever found.
Was that melanin was photovoltaic. And when I said it, I don't know, 15 years ago or more maybe, people thought I was crazy. And even today, I say photovoltaic, and a lot of people are like, what is that? Photovoltaism is basically when you take light and convert the light into a charge, a voltage. That's why it's photovoltaic.
We
so
got a word nobody ever heard of.
It's totally different than chlorophyll, and not just chlorophyll, all of the pigments. So from that time to this time, my understanding, my research has deepened, and now I'm basically starting a movement to get melanin reclassified as something other than pigment, because melanin doesn't function like any of the other pigments. And I use
do y'all hear this? So he is going to be the guy, not a doctor, not a scientist. This guy, he's going to be the person to change melanin. You know how it's categorized. Come on.
The absorption chart to show how all of the pigments absorb light, which parts of the spectrum they absorb, and then we look at pheomelanin and eumelanin.
So the term he just read right there, he said, they don't know about this. Well, one scientist did. That's why it's named something. So they found it, but they didn't know what they was looking at. You do? Like, come on. This why this get crazy.
And see that they function on a completely different curve, unlike pigments, because their primary function is to absorb sound as opposed to just light. So it gets really, really different with the understanding of melanin.
Oh, wow. I don't know if you remember back in 2019 when I told you were talking about something and I said
mitochondria.
No, we were talking about the mitochondria, but I started to give you my very rough research. I didn't know.
No, not you, Nepal, with the research. No, please. Not you now.
Thing about you. And I was very rough research. I didn't know anything about you. And I was like, wow, somebody who can throw this at about adenosine triphosphate, about 18. I was like, everybody called me crazy, but I really believe somehow we will be able for certain periods of time to produce energy I'm doing the air quotes, sugar in our bodies without caloric intake from outside.
Now, no problem. You say we because you weren't specific. Is that all humans or that just black folks?
Right. Well, here's the thing.
Here,
we do that on a regular basis. It's just without the sugar. We don't need sugar for because basically what the energy is not sugar, it is phosphorus. So it's just the process of, you know, the tricarboxylic acid cycle, breaking down the sugar into the various it's extracting energy from carbon, and that energy is used to recycle phosphorus. So phosphorus is actually the thing that gives us the energy. You know what I'm saying? That's the end part of the, you know, the ATP is basically adenosine tri, which means 3, and phosphates is a phosphorus surrounded by oxygen. And anytime you have a phosphorus interact with oxygen, it lets off light. That's where the saying phosphorescence comes from. So that light is actually what powers our body. That's another thing that I told people that they was like, nope, you're making that up. We all know that the body's electric. Robert Beck said it. Dr. Sebi said it. And in fact, if you're saying that the body runs on light and not electricity, you're going against Dr. Sebi. And I'm like, I can't with this YouTube people.
Sebi. No, not Sebi. So that's the bar, Sebi?
But wait a minute.
Reality is,
not to interrupt you, but that's what I was wondering, like right there where you said the light, I'm still trying to find the connection or work it out to the science where the sunlight comes in and help, and that's the issue with the satiating, you know.
Right. Well, here's the thing. So with sunlight, a lot of people focus on the visible spectrum, but a lot of the magic in terms of energy.
So when you research, like, you're not supposed to go researching, you're not supposed to go with the idea and then research toward the idea. You're supposed to just research, and whatever the research tells you, that's just what it is. When you go in there looking for something particular, you're going to find it, or you think you're going to find it. So if you already believed like this light stuff, just no meat stuff, if you already believe that going into your research, you're going to be handicapped. This melanin stuff, come on.
Energy production comes from the infrared. Now, the way that our bodies, and we have, we've documented this as the ENQI cycle.
Oh, shit.
But the way that our bodies produce energy without carbohydrates is from water and melanin.
Another thing is this. Oh, boy. If you're before the people and you're representing yourself as someone that we should take serious, right? We have to know your real name, right? I mean, that has to be the standard. If you're before the people and we're supposed to take you serious, that you have Black folks' best interests and you're out here to do activism and whatever else, make discoveries, we have to know your real name. Okay? This whole thing where nobody knows each other's real name, like, we got to stop that. Like, Sarasut and Seti been on the scene for like 40 years. Nobody knows his damn name. You're like, we got to stop this, you know. Come on, man. So we're never going to know your name? Like, ever? Like, come on. Like, that's just crazy.
So we've heard of structured water before. You know what I'm saying? That's a thing that's kind of made rounds and people were kind of familiar with it. But the process of how the cells structure water is a energy producing process. And so I like to show all of the slides with this stuff because a lot of times it's hard for people to just, but all of your mitochondria functions via pigment. Now, again, because we're not doing the research and we're kind of the pigment people, pigment gets left out of the conversation. But inside mitochondria, you have your heme groups, which are the electron.
Translation. When the scientists do the research, and because they're not the pigment people, they don't research the pigment, or they don't consider the pigment part. They ignore it. These are scientists. They're going to ignore it and leave that discovery for another scientist to patent and make the money and get the fame for it. Stop it.
Electron transport chain, those are pigments. That's why they call it cytochrome, cytocellular chrome color. And then outside of mitochondria, you have melanosomes depositing melanin there to basically absorb all of the free radicals that are produced by leakage from the electron transport chain. All of those things contribute to the process of the cellular water structuring itself, and you get little coherent domains inside the water.
What did hold on, let me go ahead with it. Okay, hold on. Okay, let's see if I get it. Let's see if I get it. If I get lucky.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've seen him on Def Comedy Jam many times.
No.
Y'all give it up for my man, Reggie.
I want the one Buddy Love. Oh, not this one. No, not that one. I want the one Buddy Love. I want when Buddy Love went there. Ah, there we go. All right. Okay, yeah. All right, okay.
You gonna eat that?
All right. So let me go back to this.
Which is, and you get little coherent domains inside the water, which is like a spiraling motion.
Spinning.
In the water.
Like a vortex, right? And it
like a
causes
little miniature vortex.
All right. Got it.
Reggie, your breath is so still. For Reggie to talk about your right. See, I won't. Oh, you done did it now, boy. See, I won't. Man, what's wrong with that breath field goal, man?
Hold on, I'm trying to look for something.
It's good. It's all good. And man, what's wrong with that breath? I can smell it over here. Reggie, your breath is so stink, people look forward to your fart. That smell like shit, Rick. Do you smell shit? I smell shit. You done did it now, boy. See, I wasn't gonna say nothing because I like black people, but it's time to attack black.
All right, hold on. So that ain't the part I want. This is the part I want right here. All right, I'm trying to get to the part. There we go.
Silence! I can't take this shit no more.
That's how I feel. That's how I feel right here. Hold on.
In the cell.
Okay.
And melanin is able to harness the free electrons that are produced by that spinning.
All right. This is how I feel with that. This is how I feel. Okay. That's me.
Silence! I can't take this shit no more.
All right, come on. All right, let's go. Okay. All right. Cure for diabetes. There's no cure yet, but our scientists are working on a groundbreaking weight management study to help people put their type 2 diabetes into remission. Remission is when blood glucose or blood sugar levels are in a normal range again. This doesn't mean diabetes has gone for good. It doesn't mean, don't let the pseudos get you. It's not gone for good. Okay, can type 2 diabetes be cured? There's no cure for type 2 diabetes, but losing weight, eating well, and exercising can help you manage the disease. So why not just do that? Why not promote exercising and eating well?
Why we gotta go with the cure stuff? You got the cure now. If diet and exercise aren't enough to manage your blood sugar, you may also need diabetes medications or insulin therapy. Can diabetes completely go away? According to recent research, what's that, Stone Age? No, recent research. Type 2 diabetes cannot be cured, but individuals can have glucose levels that return to non-diabetes range, complete remission, or pre-diabetes glucose level partial remission. The primary means by which people with type 2 diabetes achieve remission is by losing significant amounts of, what you think that is? Weight. What's black folks' problem? African-American women have the highest rate. Now, I didn't know I was going to say this. I just put obesity in Black Americans. So don't get mad at me, the Me Too movement. Leave me alone. African-American women have the highest rates of obesity or being overweight compared to other groups in the United States. About 4 out of 5 African-American women are overweight or obese. Now, that's crazy. That is crazy. That's that. 4 out of 5. But this is the reason why. Yeah, that's crazy. I gotta come back to this right here. But this is the issue, right? So it tells you with type 2 diabetes, achieve remission is by losing significant amounts of what? Obesity, weight. Lose this, lose that. But he can't do that because there's so many people that has those things out there for Black people. So he can't find a way to say his exercise is the best. His diet is the best. So he got to go past all that and say he got the cure. All right, so we got to talk about this a little later right here. That's crazy. And see what happens is that we get emotional, right? So a man can't say this. A man can't say that without being canceled or criticized, or we can't say that. So we gotta get a woman behind us and be our mouthpiece to say this right here. That's crazy. 4 out of 5. God damn. Anyway, back to this. Is there a diabetes? This is WebMD. Is there a diabetes cure? Okay. This is 2 years ago. This is mid-pandemic. Okay. With all the research on diabetes and advances in diabetes treatments, it's tempting to think someone like Doctrine ENQI'S has surely found a diabetes cure by now. But the reality is that there is no cure for diabetes. I can't take this no more. I gotta get to it. Although lifestyle changes can achieve remission in type 2 diabetes in some cases. However, there are treatments, including simple things you can do daily, that make a big difference. And the main one is lose some damn weight. Okay? And I see the obesity stems from childhood. This is my anecdotal observations. When I see kids, mom ain't big. Mom in decent shape. Dad in decent shape. The little boy, decent shape. The little girl, 4, 5, 6. I be having my boys look. I say, yo, look. The little girl have a hard time in their childhood, has a hard time maintaining the child's natural weight. They're usually obese or overweight in the early ages of childhood, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I want to say 8. I'll say 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They already done. They're done. They got to live a long life of obesity, and they have a diet that they're used to, so it's going to be hard to break them out of that. Is there a natural therapy that can cure diabetes? No. What does that say right there? Is there a natural therapy? Natural means the plant, the herbs, all that bull. Is there a natural therapy that can cure diabetes? No. Natural therapies such as deep abdominal breathing, progressive muscle relaxation, guided imagery, and biofeedback can help relieve stress, and emotional stress affects your blood sugar levels. So learning to relax is important in managing your diabetes. Supplements, here we go. This is what I was talking about. Supplements don't cure diabetes either. Some natural supplements, where we at? May interact dangerously with your diabetes medication. Okay? Others have been shown to help improve your diabetes, but always check with your doctor before taking any supplement. Be skeptical. What's it say right here? Everybody, on the count of 3, read this with me. Okay? 1, 2, 3. Be skeptical about claims of a diabetes cure. A genuine cure will have been tested repeatedly in clinical trials with clear success. A genuine cure will have been tested repeatedly in clinical trials with clear success. Clear success. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Manage your blood sugar levels. Know what to do to help keep them as near as to normal as possible. Every day, check your glucose levels frequently. Take your diabetes medicine regularly, and balance your food intake with medication, exercise, stress management, and good sleep habits. Okay. Why am I reading this? I'm reading this because of this.
Silence! I can't take this shit no more.
That's why I'm reading this. Okay. The question is, can herbs cure diabetes? All right, I'm going to get real specific. Here, your herbs right here. Herbs and supplements cannot cure diabetes and cannot be a standalone treatment. So done. However, some combined with conventional treatment may relieve diabetes symptoms and reduce the risk of complications, but it has nothing to do with the actual disease itself. How can diabetes be permanently treated? No cure for diabetes currently exists, but the disease can go into remission. When diabetes goes into remission, it means that the body does not show any signs of diabetes, although the disease is technically still present. What foods can reverse diabetes? Why we just can't talk about this? Doctrine ENQI, make it real easy and simple. There's no money in this right here because they could go buy the shit themselves. Diet rich in non-starchy and low-carb vegetables such as broccoli, asparagus, artichoke, and beets has been proven to reverse type 2 diabetes. They can give the hunger pangs go away without loading your body with excess carbohydrates. Okay, that's it on that. Oh boy, I want to read this right. Diabetes is a condition that affects the body's blood sugar and insulin levels. Treatments include lifestyle strategies and sometimes medication. But so it didn't say always medication, so we got to stop that pseudo lie. Sometimes medication, but some complementary therapies such as herbs and supplements may help. Okay, but we already read how they're gonna help with the symptoms. Okay. In diabetes, the body either does not produce enough insulin or produces insulin that does not use effectively. Herbs and supplements cannot cure diabetes. It cannot be a standalone. I read that. All right. There is no clear evidence of herbs or supplements benefiting people with diabetes without additional conditions. There is no clear evidence. No, none, zero, cero. Okay. Zilch. Nada. Additionally, the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, does not regulate herbs and supplements. So some products may contain different herbs and fillers. A person should speak with a healthcare professional before starting any herbs or supplements. That ain't gonna happen because Doctrine ENQI is not a healthcare professional. All right. So you're gonna see this word right here.
Botanical.
Botanic. You're gonna see this word.
Botanical.
Relating to plants, okay? All right, so here we are. We are at the NCBI Yeah, you seen this website a lot during the pandemic. You dig? Botanical medicine, parentheses, diabetes and herbal. So real clear, herbal plant medicine. All right. So I want to get down to this. You put this in the chat. So y'all can't say Ms. Tiff, peace. Okay. Patience, because they get desperate. They don't want to lose the weight. They want to eat healthier. It's nasty. Donuts taste better. Patients may choose to supplement their pharmacological regimen with dietary supplementation in many forms. For example, vitamin and or mineral mixtures. But the most popular supplements taken by the patients are those considered to be from natural products, that is herbal or botanical sources, like your boy selling over here. That's the most popular. Let me charge my laptop. This thing died. Okay. So you're seeing it for yourself. Yeah, can I charge it now? One time. Okay. ENQI was the richest K2 settlement east of the Mississippi. K2. Are you funny, yo? K2. What you know about that? They be talking more sense than ENQI. You mean a former drug dealer and a bed hopper? Yo, with the fruit inside, you're trying to go. He said donuts with the fruit inside. Hey, man. Well, those commercials back in the day when I was young, they always talk about a balanced diet. So they might show you pancakes, but they were responsible enough to have bananas or strawberry top of the pancakes, right? Or they'll show you cereal. I'm talking about the honey, no, not even the honey, just regular Cheerios, the straight white green Cheerios. But they were responsible enough to have the strawberry with the cereals. Because like you're saying, Pure Black, you might have been joking, but this was serious. Like they said, at least have a balanced diet. If you're gonna do the donut, eat an apple with it. So yeah, if you're going, don't go all the way bad, go half bad. There's a video with Polite claiming his diabetes. Yeah, I seen that video. I seen that video. Somebody sent me, who was that? Somebody sent me a Zelle for the baby. Yeah, now it's definitely from the chat. So yeah, good luck. Good luck. That's definitely good luck. Like, yeah. Listen. I to change the subject. Just for a second. For people to abandon their kid for any reason, there is no real good reason. I'm just gonna say that. I don't give a damn what. I don't care what's on the mother's mind to abandon her kid. I don't know what's on the father's mind to abandon their kid. Like that's like the saddest. Like that gotta mess with you mentally. There's no way you can live a healthy mental life. You dig? There's no way. Like especially you're gonna be around people that's involved with their families. Like how does that? Oh, I couldn't live with that. Oh my God, they happy. They're just around the kitchen table, singing songs, and you got something I see out there, and you acting like you single with no kid. Yeah, that's very sad. All right. So anyway, oh, peace, Dice Man. Thanks a lot, man. Yeah. So that's very sad for people to do stuff like that. Anyway, let's get back to what I was reading. Okay, so diabetes. All right, so let's get back here. Okay, so now I've read that patients, not patients as in be calm. Patients, actually, people admitted in the hospital. Some of them go for the vitamins or minerals mixtures, but they are all sold, not all, but most of them are sold on the herbal or botanical sources. And that's what gives this guy a marketplace. He knows that. So you make these crazy, outrageous claims and you'll get customers. Believe me, you will. Especially for those who don't want to change their lifestyle or eat a different meal. They're definitely going to be visiting this guy. And like I said, I would have more respect for the alternative therapies if they was following what the experts said. Exercise, there's nothing wrong with minerals and vitamins, nothing wrong with herbals, you know what I mean? But like I said, it's not a standalone fix. It cannot be by itself. It's no different than telling people to get off AZT and take Immunex. All right, there's no better. There's no better. Now, HIV is more dangerous than diabetes, but they both can be fatal if you're not properly medicated or treated. Okay. All right. So let me go ahead and play this. Matter of fact, let me finish reading. My bad. So they're going to run to botanical sources or herbal sources, right, as their major alternative. And right here, it says, unfortunately, right here, considerable controversy exists regarding the efficacy or dietary supplements in general and of botanical supplements, particularly regarding pathophysiological factors related to the treatment of patients with type 2 diabetes. The controversy exists because reported efficacy data for many of the natural products are only in the form of uncontrolled studies. And what's our favorite word that I learned from this going live? Anecdotal reports. Oh, here. Okay, so the controversy exists because reported efficacy data for many of the natural products, the botanical sources, are only in the form, only, okay, I think that's, you can't get more absolute than that, in the form of uncontrolled studies and anecdotal reports. So stop with this research paper garbage. Poor quality control, because the FDA doesn't regulate it, poor quality control measures may also cause inconsistent effects for certain natural products. So they can't even maintain consistency with their quality. They don't have QA, they ain't got QC. They ain't got quality assurance, women, men walking around, they ain't got quality, they ain't got QC, quality control people walking around, testing it over and over and over to make sure it's consistent. Yeah, listen, man, I would love to be on a live with Minister ENQI because I want him to understand, because again, these people never worked in a real pharmaceutical industry. And like, they need to first get a vision of what happens in there. Like, who's in there regulating the products, the drugs? What do we do to sanitize the instruments? Because we don't use soap. We don't use dish detergent, you dig? So how do we sterilize, how do we sanitize and sterilize the utensils that these ingredients go into? What type of water do we use? Do we use hot water? Do we use cold water? Like, what do we use? Or do we use purified water to rinse the utensils with? So it's one thing to know how we sterilize the utensils, but do you know we use purified water to clean them? Especially like the utensils that had like heavy like products, because you got to avoid cross-contamination. Boy, yeah, man, I'm telling you, if I was ever going to be a flashlight cop, I would first like try to be a real cop first. Like, you got to be the real thing before you go against it. You know, if I'm going to be against something, you got to dive into it. So that's why I'm like respected when I talk about, when I have an issue with the Hebrew Israelites or Nation of Islam or Moors, not the Moors, but Nation of Islam, because I've been part of those organizations, so I can tell you within like what happens in the inner works. Okay, so they can't maintain consistent quality, right? They can't maintain consistent quality. Currently, there is paucity. I have no idea what that word means. Let's look it up. The presence of something only in a small or insufficient quantities or amounts. Scarcity. Okay, so insufficient. Let's go back. So you have currently there's a small, consistent and reproducible efficacy data in humans to suggest. So very, very small. So how's he making these claims? It's small when it comes to humans. To suggest but y'all want the jab to be tested with animals and humans. Yo, this stuff ain't even tested with humans. Small research to suggest any recommendations for most. What does most mean? I gotta do this. I gotta be petty. I gotta be petty, man. That's not what I wanted. My God. Okay, give me dictionary. Give me dictionary.com. God damn it. Oh, I put definitely. Oh, my bad. I meant to put dictionary. Dictionary meaning. Okay, here we go. Okay, greatest in amount, quantity, or degree. Greatest in quantity, greatest in degree, greatest in amount. Most. Okay. For most, the greatest of degree, quantity, what's the other one? Amount. Okay. Most botanical, greatest amounts of botanical or bioactive supplements as an adjunct treatments for risk factors related to metabolic syndrome or type 2 diabetes. I mean, that's the mic drop right there. And here's a historical use of botanicals. I think I got the link in there. I'll put the link in there again. Read it for yourself. Okay, I used to be a QC at a factory that made aspirin. We had to put on clean jumpsuit and wash our hands to the elbow just to use the bathroom and all. Hey, I'm telling you, they don't know. They don't know YouTube. Yeah, you gotta come around more often. They don't know. Like they could talk that trash about, oh, big pharma, they gonna, and you hear RZA, he had like the pharmaceutical companies just dirty. They just let anything. You can't sue them, so they can produce anything, brother. If you can't sue these companies, they will not. Tell them, hey, look, I'm not gonna say a word. I don't know YouTube 91 at all. YouTube 91. How long does it take? Just give me an estimate to do. I don't know what your company called it, but it's a major clean, right? You got minor cleans, which is the same product, but if you're going to switch products, right? How long does it take to get that room ready? So I'm gonna say the cleaning part along with the signing off to it, QA manager, to get that room ready to produce another drug. YouTube 91, give us an estimate amount of how long it takes after a major clean to get that room up and ready to produce another product, another drug. So as you put that answer in there, I will finish. First, firm recommendations for general use would also require an understanding of the mechanism of action, which is not known for most. There's always don't know. First recommendations for general use would also require an understanding of the mechanism of action, which is not known for most botanicals. But let me guess, your botanical, all the information is there. All right, we out of there with that. Okay, so now let's get to the African dominant gene, some more pseudo shit. Dominant refers to the relationship between two versions of a gene. Individuals receive two versions of each gene. Individuals, does this say black folks? This says black folks. Okay. Now, I think I know how to pronounce this word, but let me just be sure, because YouTube, the internet is petty.
Allele.
There you go. So I wouldn't even say that.
Allele.
There you go. You did, because I wasn't gonna say that. So I'm glad I did that. Allele. Wow. Okay. So individuals receive two versions of each gene, known as alleles, from each parent. If the alleles of a gene are different, one allele will be expressed. It is the dominant gene. The effect of the other allele, called recessive, is masked. So everybody has this.
And it says if the alleles are of a different of a gene. Wait, it says if the alleles of a gene are different, it might be the same. Yeah, those SOP, yo, listen. Hey, now, let me say this. Depending upon how you take your SOPs, which stands for standard operation procedures, in the industry period, in the pharma, well, I think in police officer, like a lot of companies, not just pharmaceutical. I didn't know that. I didn't know, but a lot of companies deal with SOPs, and believe me, I don't know how much you guys got to read, but in that pharmaceutical industry, you need the paper, or you need like they have like the meeting room where everybody do it together. You need that. If you're on the computer, and if that company is serious and they're watching you, they're monitoring you, you're going to fail if you're on the computer. Is it hard? No, you're gonna fall asleep behind that damn old computer. You're gonna fall asleep. That is the most boring way to ever take an SOP. I will make some shit up and say, yo, what's that stuff called? The light, the LED light or something is bothering me. Can you print this out? Yo, word is bond. I will never ever try SOPs on the computer ever again. Let me tell you what I did. I kept falling asleep. They kept complaining because you got to come off the floor. You can't even be in the room without doing your SOP. You can't touch anything, guys. So stop. Don't listen to Rizz Islam. If you have not completed your SOPs, you can't touch anything in that building, on the floor. Okay, you got to read SOPs, and you got to read SOPs. Then you got to go into training. That's how you touch things, but it got to be signed off, right? So anyway. They needed me on the floor because they was underwoman, right? So they need me on the floor. But I kept falling asleep. So now they threatened to fire me. Like, yo, come on, man, you gotta get it together. Come on, Harrison. You dig? You want to go home? We can't use you. I kept falling asleep. So, I did. I said, all right, okay, I got it. Let me go upstairs. I went upstairs, and luckily for me, it's right by the break room. I took a cup of coffee. And guess what I did? I brought her right to the goddamn computer. Because you know why? The way I think, I'm gonna get fired anyway, because I keep falling asleep. So the only way I'm not gonna fall asleep, I drink this coffee next to the computer while I type. So yes, I did that's against SOP right there. You can't have no coffee over there. I took the coffee. I said, all right, screw it. I'm gonna get fired anyway because I can't stay awake. So I took the coffee, went to the computer, and did my SOPs every day. Nobody said one word to me. And it's not that it was right. That's because some companies will compromise just to get the work done. So when people have these conspiracy theories about pharmaceutical companies, like some of it might be true, but there's no joint effort. It just, you trying to get the product out. So you're not, fined by the FDA, or it don't expire, whatever the reason is. Like you need it. Oh, your client want the damn product. Because most pharmaceutical companies, they're shipping the product to a client. Somebody want you could be a manufacturer company, but the other companies but you don't sell the product necessarily. So not every pharmaceutical company sells the product. They just manufacture it. Another one sells it. So they buy it from you. It's some licensing bullshit. They put their name on it and boom. Market sharp, peace. Okay, so I don't know if YouTube 91, so he got to just bear me witness. Okay, so if you're in the pharmaceutical industry, so he went, I wonder if he's QC. I don't know if he'll know this because he's not on the floor. He's QC. So he would get a certain estimate, but he won't be accurate. Okay, so listen, to clean the room, it's going to take about 4 hours. 4 to 6 to get it ready. To clean the room could be 2 to 4 hours. To get the room ready to get products pushed again, that can take 6 hours. I mean, you're pretty much done for the day. Like your shift is over. So if we're making aspirin or like a knockoff aspirin, because we probably licensed to make aspirin, but we have the rights, I forgot what that's called, when it expires and everybody can use it. But anyway, when we produce aspirin, a version of it. What's it called? The generic form of aspirin. When we produce aspirin, the generic form, and then we're going to switch to a kidney drug, okay? That room has to have a major clean, and every company calls it something different.
It could be C clean. I heard C clean, major clean, hard, different shit. But anyway, all that means is that room got to be stripped, hosed down, wiped down, it blown down with the high pressure hose. There can't be any remnants of the other drug in the room at all. If there's any remnants or any significant remnants of the other drug in that room while you produce another drug, that new drug you're producing is considered adulterated. That means scrap it, no matter how much it costs, because that's cross-contamination. Because a person who is using the aspirin can take aspirin, but they're probably allergic to the ingredients. It's called excipients. They're probably allergic to the excipients of that kidney drug you're pushing now. So that's called cross-contamination. Okay, so I might take aspirin and a kidney drug, or I ain't supposed to take that kidney drug because that one I'm allergic to. So you got to give me an alternative drug. But if you do cross-contamination, that's a problem. You dig? So all that product is considered adulterated. You scrap it all. It's trash. And probably $100,000, 30 grand, $1 million, whatever it is, it's trash. So they take that stuff very serious. You got to clean that thing front to back. Now, do every pharmaceutical company clean their room nice and neat? Well, let me give you a hint. The larger ones, like Johnson & Johnson, yes. The bootleg small ones, I'm not sure. Can't dry snitch, I'm not sure. You dig? I'm not sure. But the larger ones, you bet your money, that thing is spotless. And that meat company is more cleaner than a damn pharmaceutical company. The good meat companies, that's big names. Yeah, that thing is more spotless than a damn pharmaceutical company. You don't find no dirt, no remnants, nothing. That's spotless, clean. And like they have the walls and ceilings that can withstand water. So the facility is made, that particular room is designed to handle water. So you can spray the walls everywhere, all the equipment. Or you take whatever can't be watered down, you take it out the room, obviously. So anyway, that's just some inside information, what goes on. But again, you got to have these conversations with these pseudos because in their mind, they're just big pharma, witch doctor, and everybody wants you to die. Tyson's Farms. Okay, so you see my screen. How you say it again? Alleles?
Allele.
Allele. Okay. So I read that. Allele. New findings in genetics tear down old ideas about race. I'll put this to fourth. I'll put this in. I read it, but I forgot where I was at with this one. So I'm gonna put this in, but I'm telling you, there's no difference. All that dominant gene bullshit, that's pseudo. So I'll throw that in there. You can read, you can correct me. Let me go. So what are dominant and recessive? The terms dominant and recessive describe the inheritance patterns of certain traits. That is, they describe how likely it is for a certain phenotype to pass from parent offspring. Okay? That's what that means. The blue eyes, the long nose, thick lips, whatever, the stringy hair, curly hair, thick hair, coil hair. That's what they mean by dominant recessive. That doesn't mean you are a dominant human being. That doesn't mean you can endure more sugar than that person, or maybe not. I don't know. But it doesn't mean like you're invincible. Like, so if both of y'all drunk or both of y'all was poisoned, right? It doesn't mean you're gonna survive a little longer than the other person. That's not what that means. Okay, so anyway, this one goes into a little more. Okay, so this is the article I want to throw in there too. So this is the article that I think is misrepresenting. There we go. So now on playback, so it is on playback. I think the playback don't work as soon as the live stops for a day. I don't know, because I never touch it. I think in most YouTube accounts it's like automatic, I think, but I never touch it. So if you don't see it, it's probably too early, but it takes like a day or two to get the live replay. All right, so let's get back. Yeah, we got to talk about this one. Let's get back to the subject.
And transfer them directly to NAD, and NAD is able to shuttle them to the nucleus, mitochondria, histones, etc., to continue and power ATP recycling and all of the other cellular functions that our cells need without a carbohydrate. Even though that's only a limited basis. So it's not like it's something that we could do indefinitely. I'm not saying that we could become breatharians or nothing.
Aaliyah, like some guys like Aaliyah, how she looked. She was reading my type like that, but I love their music. Like she was on fire. Like I love that. Like her music was fire, man. Fire.
Like none of that,
1 in a Million. Oh my God. Like all that stuff. 4 Page Later. All that stuff was just dumb hard. And I learned to like Rock the Boat later. When I first heard it, it was like okay, but I think a month later, I was like, "Damn, this shit is hard."
You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I'm still on there. I'm just.
But here's the thing: for people that want to go a little further, there's a thing called Kleber's Law, and people can look up the mystery of Kleber's Law.
See, the mystery is he always, or not just he, but some people always go into the gray area to what people don't know about, and they try to like know about it first. Like, come on.
Kleiber apostrophe S, Kleber's Law.
Why do we like to try to solve the unknown? Like, come on.
And when I was looking up this, when I was doing this research on metabolism, he popped up.
So now, Bonetta Sutton says, I have diabetes 11 years now. Shaking my head. So now she is going to contact him and believe that he can treat her better than her physicians can. And that's, I'm telling you, that's no different than Dr. Aleem Muhammad. That was the Nation of Islam that Minister Louis Farrakhan backed and supported and said he's the doctor of the future.
Kleber's Law.
So when they say we need our own doctors, then we get Dr. Ali Muhammad, a damn black Dr. Kevorkian.
He had figured out 100 years ago that there was something wrong with the ATP being being only able to be produced from carbohydrates and the body not having another energy source, because he calculated and did all the experiments and the formulas and figured out, hey, the amount of ATP that our bodies produce.
Yeah, I guarantee you, Sanetta could go get a real physician, a real scientist to talk about this. Like there are so many scientists, especially with his platform that get a lot of views, like their message can like go out further. They will be more equipped, or even they could sit on the same panel. And and that's what Sanetta really should do. I mean, for him, it could be easy. His supporters, the people who help him out, like they can definitely reach out and grab scientists who's familiar with this type of talk, this diabetes stuff, and could listen to this and then be like, oh, that right there, no, but entertainment
Deuce is only about 70% of the energy output. So there has to be some other energy that's produced inside the body that's not accounted for.
Right.
And so it kind of just got, how things go. It got ridiculed, called crazy. Then people did their research, caught up to it. Then I think they kind of gave him a little award to quiet him down and just went back to business as usual. So I kind of picked up where he left off. And the major problem that I saw when I looked at all the experiments to verify his findings were that, again, we weren't in the building. And the problem with that is the more pigment you have, it changes the nature of your tissues. So typically when you look in the textbooks, it classifies our tissues in 2 categories. You either have tissue that...
Now, I never heard of Kleber's Law, but apparently he has, and they always like to find something that's like a mystery, that some stuff nobody really knows about, and they become the authority on that said thing because we don't know about it. So now we got to listen to you as you tell us about it.
That consumes a lot of energy, or tissue that doesn't consume a lot of energy. But there's nowhere where they address tissue that produces its own energy. And so that's where I came in with the study of electromagnetically active tissue, because we have a wide variety of pigments. A lot of times when you open up a pigment conversation, the racial overtone so crazy, people just get scared, and it's like, oh, well, they talking about that black stuff. No. Everybody has pigment, whether you have the melanin, the pheomelanin, or whatever in your skin. That's just one. Like this pheomelanin, melanin, neuromelanin. Then there's melanopsin, photopsin, rhodopsin, panopsin. There's neuroglobin, cytoglobin, myoglobin. Like there's so many different types of pigments in the body that this is a conversation that everybody has to have. You know what I'm saying? This is a conversation that everybody has to understand, because pigments largely control the functionality in our body. And so once I stumbled onto this, like, I guess, void in science where there is no conversation of electromagnetically active tissue, or just tissue that produces energy from light or sound or any of that kind of stuff, I had to double back. And, that always had been, even, back in the days studying Richard King, Carol Barnes, all of the old, T. Owens Moore, and just all of the OGs that laid it down early. And we got the idea. We knew, okay, well, melanin absorbs light. The law of thermodynamics tells us that energy can't be created or destroyed. So I was never satisfied with melanin being able to absorb light, because in my mind, if melanin absorbs light, then melanin also has to do something with that light that it has absorbed. So immediately, that was the first space that I jumped into. Like, okay, well, clearly, like right now, we're sitting in front of a computer. The computer's giving off light, and that's just visible light. Our pigments in our body don't stop absorbing at the site where we see. They even absorbing the Wi-Fi, to this one, to that one. All forms of electromagnetic radiation, our bodies are able to interact with in some form or another. Even if it's for better or for worse, you know what I'm saying? Like when you get to some of the faster moving wavelengths, it gets to be ionizing, and then that can be problematic. But your body is still interacting with all of these different things for better or for worse. So I just wanted to pinpoint who, what, when, where, how, and see how that applied to the situation of, like I said, having dominant genes, but having a 200% risk factor. And then when I started to have these findings, and then I knew what I was looking for, and I go back into the text, I have the entire, so, and this is just right here, but I have all of these, you know what I'm saying? I've been through the MCAT books a zillion times, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I couldn't find anywhere where any pigment was respectably, like, they have melanin and water listed in most of these texts as waste products. Melanin is looked at as a waste product of your dopaminergic neurons, and water is looked at as a waste product of cellular respiration. So those two things right there wound up being the basis for an article I did maybe when I first wrote this, called Water and Melanin. And that article was like the precursor to this article right here, because I couldn't believe that water beings on a water-based planet would have the audacity to list water as a biochemical waste product. That was insane for me. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's interesting.
I remember Dr. Mayat asking these guys, so are you is your writings peer review? And they get so, I forgot I had the microphone hooked up, and they get so offended when you ask them, is their work peer reviewed? They get so mad. What? They got reviewed by Whitey? Whitey got to tell you that it's okay for you to believe me? They get so upset when you ask them, has their work been peer reviewed? Okay, I'm trying to plug the mic back in. Come on, Mike. I do. I do later. All right. Anyway.
Oh, wait. The cortisol. And
yeah, I was gonna go back to it. I was gonna
doubling back to the cortisol. Now, here's the interesting thing about cortisol. Cortisol is like a wild animal that you got to know how to train or harness. Like I just got a puppy Rottweiler, and Rottweilers are listed as really dangerous dogs, but they're family dogs if you train them right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
you
train them
right.
right.
Science,
So we got them from a good breeder, and we going with the school and all that kind of stuff. But my point is, cortisol is that way. You got to know how to manage your cortisol, because cortisol unchecked will break down all of your anabolic hormones, which regenerate the body.
Hi-Fi said all this to say, go to my website. Yeah, the magic melanin stuff. Yeah, it's the melanin. If you got melanin, you can do it all. Got melanin?
Have your body storing up a lot of fat. It'll cause your nerves to detach from your tissues and your glands. So cortisol is definitely a monster, and the more stress you have, the more cortisol you have. So you have to know how to neutralize that. Now, I will say this: the fight or flight hormones, though.
Yes.
The fight or flight hormones also
which is
have
the
to be
adrenaline.
Train them.
Right, because the adrenaline is actually how your body is supposed to lose weight.
Man.
So,
and can I just throw this in here real quick? Don't lose your flow.
And that goes back to, now who's really a dog trainer? Like, what you mean train them? Everybody trains their own dog, and some people get their dog to do exactly what they want the dog to do. And see, some people can't. So everybody's a dog. Who trains your dog? You dig? Like, come on, man. Everybody going to hire somebody? Talking about they're all right if you train them. But don't talk about what happens if you don't train them. And what does that mean? Like, there's a book on how to train a Rottweiler. Is there a book? Like, come on, man. Like, and then who has that book? And who knows about the book? How to train your Rottweiler. I'm killing everybody. Like, come on, man. It's goofy, more goofy stuff. They're all right if you train them. What?
I just want to let the audience know, cortisol and adrenaline are both.
Yo, Ali, when he did that diploma, man, that fake Bachelor of Science diploma, that said, it literally said Bachelors of Sci-Fi. He really put up a fake diploma. And it was Uncle Cordo. Uncle said, hold up, let me see, bring it up again. And he tried like, no, you can't. He said, you can't touch it. Like, who does that? Nah, you can't touch my diploma. And then somebody from Unc team has seen the spelling, Bachelors of Sci-Fi. Yo, go Sci-Fiance. Bachelor of Sci-Fi, something like that. And he said, no. He said, go look at that diploma.
Both coming from the same organs, basically, in the give or take, the same.
Hey, how often while looking for an exclusive romantic partner do you suddenly realize that the dating pool is getting smaller and you need to find a way to find that special someone outside your circle? What if
adrenaline, the adrenal glands, that's what I'm trying to say.
Noradrenaline, and then the noradrenaline, before you get to the adrenal glands, you're coming from the brain. And actually, the reason why it was dope that you brung it up is because these are actually, they sit on the opposite of the seesaw to melanin concentrating hormone. So,
and that's what we're talking about. We're getting closer to the diabetes too, right there.
Absolutely, because you have propriomelanocortin, POMC, and I always butcher that. I think I might have got close to how that's supposed to be pronounced. People, can y'all please stop texting me? I got y'all. I know y'all see. We live. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, go ahead.
But POMC, POMC, is a long chain, and it gives
Got
us
two little
our
dogs and that cause by the
endorphins. It gives us our fight or flight stuff, and it sits on
If we get to
counter
the damn
to the
diabetes,
MCH. So when the MCH is being produced, that's how we quiet down.
Right.
Dr. ENQI is one of the best in the holistic family. I mean, I don't even know what that means. Like the holistic whole thing is not even respected. That whole field is not respected. So you could be, that's like saying you the best in like skipping rocks in the water. Like, so?
Right.
Fight or flight and those other things. But when the fight or flight is up, the
Mhm.
MCH is turned off. So now if we are in a constant space where fight or flight is on, cortisol is on,
Yeah.
MCH is off, there is
Right.
no possible way that you can have glucose homeostasis, period.
Yeah, because the
So-
glucose, in essence, and I'm just flowing with you a little bit for the audience. The cortisol is the that's the that is the, I think it's a hormone, right? It's a hormone that
It's
puts
a
out the
hormone.
sugar, puts out the
Well-
glucose and it's in every part of the body, right?
Once you get
Yes,
the money,
yes, it leads to it,
that's
because
the
what
money.
happens
Once
is
you get the money, collect.
when your body has a whole bunch of cortisol in there, your body obviously wants to get rid of it. And the way your
Right.
body handles cortisol is
One of
by
the finest.
shoving it into fat
Red
cells.
fish, bluefish.
Yes.
And
Okay.
fat cells obviously are going to get larger, produce more estrogen, and obviously store more sugar as fat. The
And that's
beautiful
the
thing
problem
about
with the
that,
diabetes.
correct.
Sorry.
Correct.
Sorry,
Yes,
go
ma'am.
ahead.
That absolutely. And that's also the problem with insulin, because insulin makes you bigger. And most people don't really know that insulin is almost like a steroid hormone, except for the athletes and the bodybuilders, even though they don't like when I talk about this, because I be blowing up their secret right
Stop it, bro. Nobody, I'll be going to the sick. Stop it, man.
here. Because what happened is the bodybuilders that's on steroids, or the athletes on steroids, you know, when they know a test is coming up, they're going to be tested, but they still need the performance. They switch and just start shooting insulin, because insulin bulk you up the same type of way.
Dr. Bates.
Does
So
creatine do that too?
creatine is different. Creatine helps your body recycle ATP and some other stuff. So it helps the muscles to grow, but the insulin is going to make you bigger regardless. So if you exercise, it'll help you build muscle, but if you don't, it'll help you get fatter, which is counterproductive. Yeah, which is counterproductive to any diabetic, because the thing you want to do is obviously lose as much fat as you can.
So why not that be your pitch? Like, why is the fake cure?
And that becomes a thing because fat is like a generalized term for stored sugar. And in the body, you have glucose, glycogen, you got a whole bunch of other types of sugars. But then relative to diabetes, you got glucose, glycogen, then you got myocellular lipids. And there's another one I just stumbled on, another fat that hides in your muscle cells that, you got to really burn or clean out before your body
And what about visceral fat? Like the visceral fat.
Yeah, so the visceral fat will come down here around your belly, and it'll slow down. It'll cover up the membranes of the cells and make it more difficult for stuff to get in and out. But these intracellular fats that are in the cells basically make the cells like in a satiated kind of space where even if your mechanics are right, your GLUT4 molecule and all this other kind of stuff is there, your cells just don't need any more glucose from the blood to produce ATP, because it already has, like, it's already loaded. And that intramyocellular lipid
Diabetes, come on, that diabetes
did not start off.
Learning Spanish? Are you struggling to make time to learn all those new words? If so, you're going to love this. There is a super cool browser extension to help with learning words passively. Check this out. Every time you open a new browser tab, it teaches you a word in Spanish.
Off insulin dependent. But what people have to understand is that no matter what form of diabetes you have, you're going to wind up insulin dependent. You're going to
You're
wind
not
up
looking at the computer,
losing.
Sonetter. Excuse me, Dr. ENQI'S. Sonetter's trying to get your attention, but he forgot that you're looking at the camera.
My bad.
Yeah, I don't know if you covered it yet because I was in conversation taking care of some business. Let me ask you, did you deal with the signs of diabetes? Like, what are some of the signs? I don't know if you touched on it yet.
We're gonna come to that in 1 second. We almost
okay.
There. Yep.
There you go.
I'm gonna write that down so we don't forget it. I got you. I'm gonna write that down so we don't forget it. Boom.
All right, y'all can go ahead and finish that.
And so, just knowing now that there's so many different forms of diabetes, like so you have pre-diabetes, which is pretty much early stages of type 2 diabetes. Then you have the 3 different subcategories of type 1 diabetes. So that's 5 different types of diabetes, which all require a different approach if you're trying to heal the diabetes. Then you have gestational diabetes, which used to be looked at as temporary, but now most women that have gestational diabetes are coming down with type 2 diabetes within 2 to 5 years of having the baby. Then you have Alzheimer's, which is type 3 diabetes now. And then you have type 3C diabetes, which is pancreatic failure. And that comes from the fact that we have basically 2 pancreases instead of 1, as we may have thought. Can y'all still hear me?
Yeah, but we can't see you.
Oh, my bad. There you go. I done pressed the button. I'm over here thinking I'm fancy. I done pressed the button by mistake. All right, so then we have what was I saying? Type 3C diabetes, which is pancreatic diabetes, and that stems from the fact that we basically have 2 pancreases. And I know that's another crazy thing that I say. People like, see, we knew he was going to say something that was, but I'll come back to that in a second, right? So you got that. Then you have mitochondrial diabetes, which is diabetes specifically based on mitochondrial failure. A lot of athletes have that because you build up a large amount of mitochondria as an athlete, then you retire, you no longer maintain the active lifestyle, but you do maintain the vices and the money to support the vices. So, and then some people have some other stuff that leads to mitochondrial diabetes. But anyway, these are, I mean, we probably just went through about 9 or 10 different forms of diabetes. And so all of these different forms require a different approach. And to circle back to the pancreatic, that was a crazy thing when I found, because like most people, they think like when you say, oh, well, what does the pancreas do? They go, oh, well, the pancreas job is to produce insulin and blah, 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 blah. And that's not the pancreas job. The pancreas job, did we still live? You get me?
Go, man.
Did we shut down?
I was muted. Yeah, you're fine.
Okay. All right, good.
I forgot I was muted. I muted so that you wouldn't have any.
Okay, good. So the pancreas, yeah. So I found out that the pancreas is really like 2 glands in one. It's an exocrine gland and an endocrine gland. And the main job of the pancreas is not the endocrine function, which is producing insulin. The main job is, like Dr. Sebi would say, like producing alkaline compounds. That is the exocrine function to produce the.
See, we got to stop with that. Elijah Muhammad said, Sebi said, when you say a lot of false stuff, you're going to get lucky and say something right here and there. You dig? That doesn't mean you're right overall. Like, you know what you're talking about. Sometimes a person can say too much things that's too wrong, and it's enough to say that person doesn't know what they're talking about. I don't care what they got right. They were just wrong too much. And that person cannot know what they're talking about on this particular topic. And that's Sebi and Elijah Muhammad on all his topics.
Okay. Shout out to my guy Osborne. But that's the exocrine function to produce the alkaline digestive juices. And so 95% of your pancreatic tissue is actually exocrine tissue. And that is the specific tissue that could be inflamed.
Yeah, and same thing with Sebi. Like, Sebi, why aren't you out there ENQI could be a billionaire in America, and Sebi could have been a billionaire in Africa, right? But, come on. Like, that's why, like, dude, we just read that there's no cure. You dig? The best you could do is put somebody in remission. So if you got the cure, dude, you're a billionaire, at least a millionaire, because you can't be a billionaire because they're gonna kill you. I know you're gonna get the conspiracy theory. So you at least be a millionaire. You dig? You will, because one person, believe me, if that one person came to this guy and he cured their grandmother, the doctor said, "Wow, your grandma has no more diabetes. What happened?" You laugh like, "Ha ha ha, blackology medicine." So good luck, doctor, with your career. We're out. You dig? You definitely gonna be on social media like, "Yo, Grandma Tippy is cured from diabetes. Oh my God, I cannot believe it. I'm so happy. I'm crying." The doctor even said that yesterday. So we don't need a service anymore. My grandma's good. Yo, that will go viral. That will go crazy on the net. So many people like, "Yo, really? What's his name? Blah, 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 blah." Come on. That's how that will work. If you cure somebody and their personal doctor say, yeah, nothing else to do here. You're good to me. Like, you're beyond remission. Like, you are actually cured. Like, you never had it. But that's going to go wildfire on the internet. You don't need advertisement and big pharma to back you. If you can do that, that one person you cure, their family, their friends is going to blow you up. Stop it.
You know, with your flaming hot Cheetos or your fries.
Yeah. Young Pharaoh got 3 inventions and 3 apps worth 1 billion each. Yeah, Young Pharaoh's some retarded stuff.
Chicken, your fried fish, and just some of the foods that we intrinsically know we shouldn't be eating, but we didn't know probably that those foods specifically target the pancreas and cause inflammation there, which leads to loss of beta cell function in some instances. So, but just learning that there was 2, basically, like the pancreas is like 2 glands in one, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was crazy right there. So just a lot of little, you know what I'm saying, prevents people from really being able to address somebody with diabetes. And because I come from a certain space, I speak away, I dress away, is like people will instantly automatically underestimate. So the first thing I got to do is, I got to fight through any of those things. And then once people hear what I'm saying, and then they go back and they start to research some of these things, they're like, brother's on point.
Well, here you go. The regeneration garbage they're talking about earlier. Furthermore, we discuss possible reasons for the failure of regenerative medicines in clinical trials and possible strategies for improving B-cell regeneration. Come on, man. Even that shot down. See, something they're trying to look, pancreatic B-cells right here, keyword. So something they're trying to do that seems like there's something there, but it fails. So, but that's what they did the whole pandemic with the jab. They go to these alternatives that never makes it through the clinical trials. Like, they was even talking about it, the one you could inhale, right? You could inhale, and that was the jab instead of an injection. And that one never did much with the clinical trials. So come on, man. This whole alternative it keeps failing.
Like, this stuff is all here and easily findable. And because we maybe have 10 different or 12 different forms of diabetes that are recognized now, if somebody's approaching trying to help somebody or even help themselves from a traditional standpoint of maybe just type 1 or type 2, there may be a lot of things that they don't address, and that may discourage them from trying to get their healing, because they may just be missing a few little pieces.
Right. Thank you. Speaking of healing, now Sonetter had asked you about people really want to know, but I also wanted to throw this in. Sometimes when you hear people say, I'm hyperglycemic, or I have diabetes, I can't have sugar. When you hear that, you see them eating like a lot of breads, though. They might cut out the sugars. So talk to them, the audience, about that.
Okay, so here's a
So-
tricky thing.
So when I watched this, I thought I was under the impression that Nepal was going to challenge him about some of the pseudo information, misrepresenting the articles and everything. But it sounds like she's like throwing them alley oops. So I'll say, oh, okay, yeah, I'm not. This ain't what I came to watch. I thought she'd be like really, because with the Hebrews, she'd be like a little, be on them. I figured she'd do that with this guy, but they're like on the same team. I said, nah, this ain't what I wanted to see. I wanted to see his information get challenged, because that's what that's what I thought this was about.
That you got to really understand at the end of the day, there is no way to avoid sugar. Let me just say that again. There's no diet that is not a sugar diet. So it's about the form you get in the sugar, how active your body is, and have you just done the simplest thing, which is coupling your diet to your lifestyle. It's not about like an arbitrary food list, whether it's Dr. Sebi's food list
Oh my God.
or whether it's your dietitian's.
He keeps saying Sabi because he thinks the community is in love with Sabi. And they probably are.
From the hospital giving you a food list of good diabetic foods versus bad diabetic foods, right? It doesn't work because there may be something that beneath the surface creates a larger problem than it's.
Quick commercial. This is the next lesson when I go live again on this. So I did Spanish nouns. No, I did Spanish nouns. I did Spanish regular verbs. And now we're gonna go with Spanish adjectives, right? So this is when I go live on Spanish lesson number 3.
It solves. I'll give you an example. People are on like alkaline honey or what's this? Agave.
Yes.
Agave is 90% fructose. Honey is 40 to 50% fructose. Now, the problem with fructose, besides it being the preferred sugar of cancer cells, is that fructose inhibits your body from metabolizing tryptophan. And tryptophan is the aromatic amino acid that not only contributes to a lot of your pigment functionality throughout your whole body,
75 to 90.
it's primarily responsible. Percentage. Yeah, it's because it's responsible for your serotonin, your melatonin, and more importantly, when we're talking about diabetes and energy, it's responsible for your NAD.
21 to 40.
And so
it goes to the highest number.
A lot of people in the health space, they talk about telomeres or
guys, man, and these women. You can't trust them. They go to it's a range 75 to 90. He goes to 90, 21 to 43. He goes to 40, 50. He don't want to go to the low end. It's always scare you.
Telomeres, however you want to pronounce that. Telomeres or telomeres.
No. Don't say how it. Once you pronounce it, you're reading the word, so that's how the word. You pronounce it the best you can. Don't be ignorant of the medical terms and then blame it on how they want you to pronounce it. No, that's the name. Name it your own thing, and like you always do. And let's go with your word, or pronounce it the best you can.
Telomeres, however you want to pronounce that, telomeres or telomeres. They talk
exactly. Yeah. So we can't trust you if you can't even pronounce the medical terms correctly. Come on, man. Can't do that.
About histones, they talk about sirtuins, and they don't understand
ketones.
You pronounce those correctly.
well, right, but ketones.
I know. I just don't want to.
Not reliant. Yeah.
Okay.
Ketones. We'll hit ketones when we hit autophagy if we make it around there. But
perfect.
with these things,
with the agave and the honey, you mean? Go on.
Right. The sirtuins, the histones, those things are all dependent on NAD. So if your diet or your fast or whatever it is that you're doing includes high amounts of fructose, your body's not going to be able to metabolize tryptophan, which means your body's not going to have an adequate amount of NAD, which means no matter what type of fasting or alkaline water or whatever it is that you're on, you're not going to have the maximum sirtuin, histone, regenerative complexes active, period.
Would you like to know how I became the longest survivor of mesothelioma? Over 20
Because you
years
see,
now.
Dr.
My name is Paul Krause. I want to share all my survival.
You're not even going to have an active NRF2 system, which provides the basis for cellular defense. So those are little, just like I said, those are just little key nuances that if a person's missing, they could be doing 1,000 things right. But every morning they wake up and they hitting the agave inside their smoothie twice a day. They adding it on to their breakfast and all that. Okay, cool. You're going to be going for a long length of time and you might be blaming your local.
I know y'all heard the laughing just now. So notice, you don't really hear crying. You hear a lot of laughing in the back. So notice my background. I'm not on mute. But you'll hear a lot of laughing or just silence. But you won't really hear crying. When you hear crying, that's because somebody's inactive.
Healer or even your local doctor
is inactive.
For you not getting the recovery as fast as you want it. And it's because you just, maybe the person is not as informed as they should be. And we got to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? Like in the holistic space, we got to get to the space where we understand that there are general practitioners and then there are specialists. You know what I'm saying? My specialty is this, the type 2 diabetes thing. You know what I'm saying? Like we got to have, like how doctors, they got general doctors, then they got certain doctors that specialize on repairing your knees or brain surgery or this, that, and the other. Like we got to get into that type of space with our holistic paradigm as well, so that we understand there's multiple layers to this information. You know what I'm saying? There's even a lot more that we need to go into. Like I said, I did 40 hours and didn't go into anything twice on the subject. You know what I'm saying? So there's just so many different things that we could go into. Oh, and then the signs of diabetes. I wanted to give at least 2 signs on diabetes before we go any further, so I don't skip Sa's question. The main 2 signs for diabetes, right, are blurred vision. And when I say main 2 signs, these are signs that, you know, you don't need to be, you know, Nepal or ENQI or Sabi or, you know, KT or anybody to know this stuff. You don't need to go to a doctor to figure this out. You don't need to even be literate. If you're alive, you can notice these things in your own space, or your children, you know, or your loved ones, or whatever the case may be. Blurred vision is a big one, especially if the blurred vision comes within the space of your meals. The other big one, which is probably more easy to tell, is when you have to use the bathroom every time that you eat, right? And the reason why your body does that, and that's like the biggest telltale sign. So that was a good question that Sa asked.
Right.
It's the urination, you know, frequent going to the bathroom, because that is your body's way of not only trying to get rid of the excess insulin that's in the blood.
Yeah, I'm like, who's that?
But also, and more importantly, the insulin receptors. See, that's the thing that people really don't know as well when it comes to this, is that your cells don't just have insulin receptors there. The insulin receptors actually pop up at mealtime for the insulin. And within, 4 hours, 5 hours, maybe 3 if you are active, the insulin and the insulin receptors are supposed to be gone, and you just have the energy inside the cells, et cetera, et cetera. The problem though with insulin receptor buildup is that is the road that leads a healthy cell to a cancer cell. So like one of the major identifying differences between a cancer cell and a healthy cell is that a cancer cell is going to have anywhere from 10 to like 100 times the amount of insulin receptors as a normal cell. And that's how a cancer cell is able to eat more than the surrounding cells and hog up all the nutrition, because the insulin receptors is what, so it has to have more of those. And when we keep eating, you know, like on average, we consume some carbohydrate or just food in general, like every 2 to 3 hours. Now,
I think he always
with the food, like I was saying earlier, you can't escape sugar. Your body stores sugar as fat. We know that. So to combat it, you got the keto people coming up with a fat.
We got an hour and 4 minutes. I'll go right back. I just want to see if all this is him or the chat is calling in. Oh boy.
To start experiencing some powerful results from there.
Yeah, spiritual results as well.
Okay, so yeah, we're gonna
That on average, we consume some carbohydrate or just food in general, like every 2 to 3 hours. Now, with the food, like I was saying earlier, you can't escape sugar. Your body stores sugar as fat. We know that. So to combat it, you got the keto people coming up with a fat-based diet. And then you have the all protein folks saying that we need to have all protein. Here's the problem with all protein. Well, fat, we should all know, fat is sugar. So I don't need to explain that.
Before you move on to that, I'm sorry. I know you're flowing.
You're good.
Can you write this down like you've been penciling? Can you talk to us about monk fruit? But go ahead. Not right now. Just go flow, keep flowing. But I just want to throw that out there.
Now we can stop right here and do monk fruit, because monk fruit quick. Monk fruit is cool. I like monk fruit. It's a great alternative. It's not exactly. Here's the thing with alternatives, right? I say to people, just get used to the taste of your food without adding stuff. So like, you know what I'm saying? If you like burgers, try eating your burger without mayo, ketchup, and all of that other stuff on there and see if you still like it. If you still like it, then good.
That's me. I got Chick-fil-A. Matter of fact, almost everything I make, outside of spaghetti, of course, you add the sauce. That's me. I usually eat it the way it is, because I want to see if it really tastes good. And then certain occasions I'll dress it up, but mainly I don't really dress up my food. I leave it like it is. You know, I do sea salt, everything. And that's about it.
But you know what I'm saying? You might look at some stuff differently if you stop adding it. Like, there's a bunch of breakfast cereals that people do not like unless they have sugar to put on it. Like, okay, so you really don't like those cereals, then you should probably just stop eating those sugar. I mean, those cereals altogether. If you don't like the taste of them, until you know, change them with the sugar. But monk fruit, Gucci. The thing with all, like, it's almost like the coconut sugar. You know what I'm saying? But the thing with all sugars is you got to remember, they remove the fiber and they remove the pigment, which are the two things that constrain the behavior of sugar in your body. So the main thing that we stress is not even like vegan. You know what I'm saying? That's another thing that separates me from everybody else. I work with people that eat meat. You know what I'm saying? I also work with my plant-based folks. I don't eat meat. I'm plant-based. You know what I'm saying? But I work with people that eat meat. You know what I'm saying? The vast majority of our society eats meat. So the moment you put a paradigm together and say this is only for the vegans, you just alienated 99% of our community. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, I try to teach people how to eat meat properly. And that's a thing that we can also get into as well. Because actually that's coming anyway, because we're talking about the protein. So what happens with protein, the most important thing to understand with protein is you need to have a protein deficit. And there's been so much conversation surrounding protein because you have the Sabaites that say, to hell with protein, you don't need protein. What is protein? Then you have the opposition, like, nah, you need protein. Your body's made out of protein, blah, 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 blah. Then you have a lot of people that are doing their own research and they're coming to some sort of middle ground consensus, especially those of us that really understood what Sabi was trying to get across.
I don't know this website.
But there's a nuance to it. And that nuance is you have to have a deficit. And so what that means is you have to have a requirement for protein. So when your body consumes protein, first things first, your body doesn't want protein, it wants amino acids so it can build its own protein. So that's number one. So when you consume protein, your body has to break it down to amino acids, then try to rebuild it back into the enzymes, hormones, peptides, pigments, bones, etc., etc.
I'm not gonna criticize.
Whole nother thing. But my major point is, if a person's not really exercising much, you kind of wake up, go to work, school, whatever, party, have sex, go to bed, you don't really have that high of a protein deficit. Your body doesn't require that much. So when you consume more than what your body needs, guess what happens with the excess protein? It gets converted into sugar. The excess protein gets converted into sugar in the body. So that's why I said, you can't really escape the sugar until you really like couple your lifestyle to your diet. You want to have as much protein as your body requires. You want to have as much sugar as your body requires. And fats, you don't really want to be dealing with fats except for like your the fats that you need for your liver, your membranes, your DHA. Like you want to just try to focus on good fats, but fat's not a thing that you really got to concentrate on outside of maybe some supplementation to get your omega-3s or in that space. But yeah, you want to couple what it is that you're consuming to how you living so that you are able to metabolize everything. Sugar doesn't really become problematic until we consume more than we burn. Fat doesn't become problematic till we consume more than we burn. Protein doesn't become problematic until we consume.
Gym shirts stink. They fit terribly, the fabric is uncomfortable, and the designs are boring.
You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I don't even think they understand fully what the eating clean is, but they just do it.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Inky, he can rattle a lot, and it gets boring. Yeah, he has to find a way to like keep to one thing and make it entertaining. Because it is that rambling is just
right. For them, eating clean is not having grease, maybe removing skin, etc., etc. But the actual thing that they do that makes it eating clean is they usually put their chicken breasts or their burger patties or whatever protein source they're consuming on top of a big salad. And so the phosphorus in the salad is able to neutralize a lot of the acids from the meats. And so they're able to benefit from the positive end and, lessen the blow from, say, the negative end.
Back down.
Now,
this
that
is
doesn't
so
get
good. I didn't mean to cut you off. And people out there that love you, like, she keeps cutting him off. I'm not even looking in the chat because this is very good, helpful information. I want to ask you like a couple more questions and then open of course, people want to ask you questions, open the phone lines.
Let's get to the
maybe
questions.
even put the link.
This is at the height of our, and that is the
I want to close this out. Let's get to the questions. God damn.
Or even grow, but you can buy from local farmers. If you're going to be a vegan, jump in and buy or even grow, but you can buy from local farmers. You can get those greens and those beans and those fruits and vegetables and all that good stuff. I mean, grains. So yeah, thank you. Now, Sonnetter came back.
When I researched that humans are supposed to eat meat, that we're not supposed to be vegetarians, that's when I was like, all right, let me go back to my chicken. I know this pseudo shit wasn't real.
I think it's time.
There's a store right now in the Bronx. The Bronx typically known for being a food desert, but uptown, 453 West 238th Street, the young brother there, all the way on time. He know who I am. He know who you are, Sai. He know who you are, Nepal. He know who everybody is. Young brother got a farm, and next door to the farm, he has a business where he is.
I told you, when you hear the conscious community individual say farm and school run, we always got to have a school and a farm. Oh, God.
Got a you are side. He know who you are in the pod. He know who everybody is. Young brother got a farm, and next door to the farm, he has a business where he is converting those fresh foods into the juices, the smoothies, and all of the foods that people can buy fresh right there on the spot. That's 453 West 238th Street in the Bronx. So,
and you got a farm. You're not using pesticides to get those bugs and get those rabbits and rats from eating your stuff. Like, come on, man. That's why they be using that stuff to deter those things from eating. You got to. A farm is not easy, man. And so he meant a garden. He didn't mean a farm. He meant a garden. He ain't a damn farm.
it is some change that is coming about from all of this teaching that we're doing. It's not just aimless. You know, there's some stuff that's definitely happening.
Wow, that's awesome. And now I also know I'm not living in New York anymore, but when I lived there, I would go to Union Square and they had all the local growers. Yeah, right.
This happening here a lot uptown.
Get the questions
to the manager and was like, yo, these are is only 1% of our society. So in the online community, we get used to speaking to each other. And that's a problem. Like we got to start, those of us that have some level of understanding, we got to stop preaching to the choir so much and start talking to John Q. public that don't really know anything. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't know. So if you say Red Hot Blues to the store manager, he's like, what is that? You know what I'm saying? You got to go, oh, well, here's the woo. Or if you get pancake syrup or pancake mix, they got vegan versions of that. You know what I'm saying? You want chocolate syrup for your kids, birthday party coming up. They got vegan versions.
I don't want a vegan. Listen, if I'm going to do syrup, I want syrup. If I'm going to do honey, I want honey. I don't want no vegan. Nah, when it comes to certain things, I want like it is. Now, there's some vegan stuff that's kind of not bad, but some things like those Sandy cookies, I want Sandy cookies the way they are. I don't want no vegan Sandy cookies.
You know what I'm saying? But if you don't know what they are, how can you expect your store manager, you know what I'm saying? And then
let's get to the question.
Sorts, you know what I'm saying? One of the and that's literally what autophagy means. Again,
3 signs of yeast issues in your dog's paws. Number 1, their paws smell like corn chips. You see, the scent is often due to the accumulation of...
I thought that was normal for dogs to smell like corn chips. Every dog I ever had smell like corn chips.
Yeast between their paws. Number 2, they're licking or biting them. Now, yeast buildup in your dog's paws will often make them itchy, causing your dog to bite or lick. Number 3, they're discolored or moist. This is due to the consistent licking, trying to soothe this discomfort. Now, if you've spotted one or more of these issues, you need to listen up, because these are all signs that there's a yeast buildup in your dog's paws. But here's the funny thing. The answer to this frustrating issue isn't located in their paws. No. The real cause of this is due to a gut that has become overwhelmed with bacteria. You see, when your dog's gut is imbalanced, it creates a hyperactive immune system that simply can't deal with the yeast building around your dog's body. Hence why they start to itch and lick their paws, trying to soothe that discomfort of the yeast buildup. So you're probably thinking, well, what can I do to help? Well, thousands of US dog parents can't live without Pet Lab Co.'s probiotic chews. Now these chews...
So that was interesting. I didn't know that. I thought he was going to say, you got to clean the paws out. It's in the damn gut. That's interesting. Yeah, but the corn chips smell, I thought all dogs' feet smell like that. I didn't know some yeast buildup.
Living food. You didn't see anything processed. And then also the brother Prince. There was a couple. The Impossible Green, Dr. Ink. Shout out to everybody else who isn't.
Slum.
That's right.
Well, Nepal, which one you task for me as well? Or Yusuf, and they both is delicious. This is a hard task for me as wife.
Let me tell you, more vegan food dish, Prince, best chicken, or like you're gonna have these favorites.
And so can he. If we talk about comparing, I gotta go. I'm gonna go ahead and take the challenge. How could I not say Queen Afua? And I think Prince Yusuf's wife would agree.
That's Queen just because you graduated from a class. That's all.
No, that's because
that's how she got the information. All right. She's so fluid and versatile. She went to the class, the Queen of Afua. Let me see.
Comparing, I gotta go. I'm gonna go ahead and take the challenge. How could I not say Queen of Afua? And I think Prince Yusuf's wife would agree.
That's
Queen
just because you
is,
graduated from a class. That's all.
no, that's because she prepares the food. So look, both of them are delicious.
She prepares the food with love. You see how she was doing it? She had the music on. She was dancing and singing and smiling. Her and Nova got in the middle of the floor, did a little Michael Jackson thing.
Yeah, they both did prepared it for love with love. This is what I want to say.
Yeah.
She's the queen of all of the, she's a leader. That's why I'm giving it to her.
She's the OG.
Elder. She's the OG. But then following behind are the sisters that are, in the sister, the home of Ben Asio.
Yeah.
So you threw me out there, Sanetta. You got me.
Well, I'm gonna side with you. I agree with you. I give Queen of Four a slight edge, but not by a big margin because,
I'm gonna go the other way. I'm gonna go with Prince and the family because something that people may not know is that community actually founded the largest international chain of vegan restaurants around the world.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? So it's and I didn't even know who they was like that. Like
you were eating
when
there,
I was living in Philly. What? I was tearing that food up because they had the they was the only spot in Philly that had vegan breakfast. So you had a bunch of spots that would have vegan food, but they wouldn't really open up till the afternoon. So breakfast, you was kind of like on your own. Man, we used to be waiting on them, like literally 10, 12 deep for them to open up that breakfast out there in Philly. So later on, I learned like, oh, wait a minute. Because when I was eating from them, what we would do is let like one or two people just drive up there, grab the food for everybody and bring it back down to the store. You know what I'm saying? Or back down to the block wherever we was at. And so when I found out this was the Hebrew Israelite community, I was like, wait a minute, what? And then it just clicked from there. You know what I'm saying? So,
I love them. And I want to say we ate, just to give respect, rest and power to Prince Asiel. We did get the opportunity to dine at their restaurant.
His dad.
His dad, yes, his father, and for the I guess you could say repast. Let me tell you, the food was delicious. The women, everything you could see green, everything like I know this is down in
man.
Hey, peace to you, Sanetta, Dr. ENQI, how you doing? I want to say I do definitely understand when you say you can. I'm pre-diabetic. I've been pre-diabetic since for about 15 or 16 years. And I want to say, if one thing you know when you pre-diabetic is you can't avoid sugar, because in this country they put sugar in all the there's not, you sit there, you're like, oh, I want to get this, I want to eat this, you look at it.
And now listen, let me try to explain that, right? Because same thing. When I bought products without the sugar, like ketchup without the sugar, it tastes like tomatoes, like you dig that sour type taste. And again, when I'm hungry, I'm not trying to go natural. That's the wrong time to go natural, is when I'm hungry. I'll do a tomato taste, the sour taste, when I'm just chilling at a barbecue. You dig, a lot of burgers out there, I'm good. I eat like turkey burgers, so I don't eat beef or pork. So you see a lot of turkey burgers or turkey hot dogs, whatever out there, chicken, whatever. All right, cool. I'll do the little natural ketchup. But listen, they put the sugar in there so it can sell. Okay? Kids eat food because there's sugar in there. Give a kid a choice to eat the food without the sugar or the food with the sugar, or the food with the sugar. Guess they're gonna take the food with the sugar, okay, all the time. Give them the drink that's bitter, sour, a Gatorade, and give them the juice that tastes like Kool-Aid. Okay, so same thing with adults. Adults, sugar tastes good. We put sugar, you got the country folks in here talking about putting sugar in their grits. So we go that far to put sugar in grits. Now, you crazy, you put sugar in grits. It'll be butter, salt, and pepper. And people do cheese. If I don't eat cheese like that, but when I did, cheese going there. But you got crazy folks who put sugar in grits. So because sugar it makes things taste good, tastes better. Okay. Some people put sugar in a spaghetti, and certain restaurants, certain so-called chefs, they might cheat and put sugar in their food. And you're like, damn, this tastes so good. That's because he got sugar, she got sugar in it. So that's why people in your own households put sugar in their food, because it tastes better. I hate wheatini. I hate cream of wheat. But in order to eat it and not get a whooping, I had to put sugar in it. We put sugar in Frosted Flakes, and Frosted Flakes are already frosted. We put sugar in Raisin Bran. We put sugar in the old white grain Cheerios. We put sugar in Corn Flakes. We put sugar, name it. We put sugar in everything because we won't eat it. Okay? So there's no conspiracy to kill you with sugar. We do it ourselves because it just tastes better. Food does not taste that good without sugar. Okay? That's why, bro, because there's an alternative. You get the products without sugar. And it tastes like it don't have sugar. And you're not going to use a lot of it. But that ketchup with sugar is going to go in about a week. Depending on how many people in the house, about a week and a half to the most is going to go. Get that ketchup without sugar. That's going to last a whole year. So let's stop the cat. Come on, man. It just tastes better. That's why people do it. They're competing. Why would I not put sugar in my ketchup if I got this brand and there's 6 other brands and they got ketchup in it? I'm not going to compete. Therefore, I won't be on the shelf long. They're going to replace me with a product that actually sells. That's business.
You know, 2 grams of sugar, 3 grams of sugar. And I'm like, why do they have to put sugar in this? There is no reason. Well, there is a reason. The reason is we're subsidizing sugar, we're subsidizing corn. That's why we have so many chips in aisles, corn syrup, and things like that. But I want to ask you, you said something, and that's why Sonetta said come in, when you were saying that diabetes mostly affects people with melanin or people of color.
Hey, you like the shot I threw out there with the grits? That was funny. That felt so natural. Like, yo, you got crazy folks out there who put sugar. We just want to put sugar in everything. That was funny. I had to get you. Okay. But I was one of those nuts that put sugar in Frosted Flakes when it was already frosted. Okay. Definitely did Raisin Bran. But yeah, man, almost all my sugars. But I ain't gonna lie, with the flaky cereals, I always put bananas. So I had like a kind of a balanced diet, but I was OD on the white sugar. We didn't even know about raw sugar, and we probably wasn't buying it because it cost like $3 more than granulated sugar. So here's the question he's about to. Peanuts, blue seeds, putting salt and everything. Yeah, salt too. I'm biased on use sugar because he preferred. All right, so let me. What are you laughing at? That's my laugh. Finish your breakfast, like Jay-Z said. Here, drink your milk.
Sonetta said come in.
So listen to the question.
When you were saying that diabetes mostly affects people with melanin or people of color, and
Type 2
I said, well, what's that?
Type 2 diabetes.
Well, type 2, which is hopefully I won't get there. Hopefully I can stave that off. But that's where, that's.
Well,
but
no.
I understand.
If you've been pre-diabetic for that long,
yeah.
Shout out to you because you've been doing something right. You've been doing something right to stay, to stay at the border right there. So whatever you're doing is not totally wrong.
I tell you, Dr. ENQI, one thing I was lucky. I work at a job that tests me every year.
Not the kumbaya. Come on, man. Do the challenging information. Come on.
Tested there
right there. What he's saying right now is probably one of the most important things that will have been said for the entire show. And I got to say this specifically to my folks out there, because we get into this space, especially with the YouTube and becoming hypercritical of the medical system. That's something I'm not. I don't bang on doctors. I think the future of health is where the holistic and the natural paths come together with the medicals and the surgeons. And we integrate what we know. another conversation. But what I want to say is there's a lot of people that, for one reason or another, they distrust, they've had experience, whatever, to the medical system. And so they don't participate. They don't go get checkups. They don't do, they don't go to that. They don't even have a family doctor. Like they don't. But on the flip side,
Dr. ENQI,
they're not in a gym. They don't have a trainer. They're not taking herbs and supplements.
Nah, the herbs don't mean nothing. We just, come on, man. Come on, man. It's not about the herbs. It's about just eating a balanced diet, keeping your weight low, and exercising. Stop it, bro. Stop with the herbs. You don't got to do the herb stuff. That's a choice.
They're not, trying to go.
Showed you broccoli, asparagus, beets, and something else. Something choked. What's that anti-choke? It showed you the 4 vegetables you can eat to balance your diabetes. Make sure, bring it back to remission if it's possible. Asparagus, some anti-choke, something like that, beets, and broccoli. That's it. He ain't saying nothing about no damn herbs. The herbs, there's not enough research. There's no human test subjects, no clinical trials. You're just capping. I'm tired. You're capping like the cap on your head.
Plant-based or figure out alternative. So it's like you're just doing nothing at home. And not being diagnosed with something does not mean that you don't have something.
That's
you
correct.
got to understand that. A lot of people will drop dead because they had something undiagnosed. And one of the most dangerous things to find out was that type 1 diabetes now could pop up on you at any age. Any age. You could be a teenager, get type 1 diabetes. You could be 30, 40, 50 years old, bang, get type 1 diabetes. And one of the craziest, most dangerous things about type 1 diabetes is
yeah, that's it.
People with type 1 diabetes die in their sleep.
Yep.
And I don't hear enough conversation about this. People with type 1 diabetes go to sleep and don't wake up if their sugar's not right. This is why a lot of online personalities with the health, I just be frustrated because I'm like, bro, you can't play with this, man.
Do you own an F-150, Tacoma, or just about any truck ever made? Then listen up.
Hey, all my moderators, if you see this demon, this goddamn demon, the red demon, they call him Peter. Block that creep. Get him out of here. Keep blocking him. He got like 50 YouTube channels. So his goal is to disrupt. So get that creep ass chump out of here.
Where's the live playback? Let me see. Let me see what Peter's saying. Osborne Sayers, intermittent fasting, how to eat. This guy said, how to eat to live by Elijah Muhammad. Are you serious? That so-called fake pseudo. Where's the Peter guy? I want to see what he's saying there. Okay, I forgot when you block somebody, all the messages go. There's white guy. Why is Peter still here? Y'all funny.
Here, make sure we block him. He's not a family member of ours. He don't come in to bring positivity. He always comes in everybody's chat to bring negativity. When he's upset over here, he'll run over here. He'll run over to Judah. He'll run over to wherever. Keep that creep up out of our shit. Block everything that he come in with. Block him. Go ahead. I'm sorry, man. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. So, but yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's dangerous. You know what I'm saying? Not knowing. Like people really, you got to find out. So like earlier with Sa said, signs, symptoms, blurry vision.
How to eat.
Go let the people check you out. If you eating and you don't even drink something, you just eat a meal. You just had a sandwich and all of a sudden you got to pee. And you notice you got to pee 2-3 times. Oh, go let them people check you out because you might have.
Go let them people check you. They always non-regular, right? They're irregular verbs. They're not a regular verb. They're irregular verbs. Oh, and by the way, when we get to the irregular verbs still confuse me today. I get it because I got to remember, but to give, go, va, voy is tricky because there's no O, like hablo, como, vivo, all that O is out. Is now voy. I go. Yeah, so the irregular verbs are tricky. Just a little warning for when we get to that area. It's gonna get crazy with the irregular verbs. Regular verbs, sensible. Irregular verbs, crazy. All right.
At advanced levels of diabetes without knowing. But go ahead, bro. I just wanted to
No,
highlight.
you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. You waking up at 3 or 4 in the morning, having to go to the bathroom, dry mouth, things like this. Those are all signs. Yeah, so I was fortunate enough, and and I saw somebody in the chat say there is no pre-diabetes. When what we say when we talk pre, I know what they're talking about, but you're saying you're not insulin dependent. Right. My A1C is below. A1C is something they measure over a time period for like 3 months, how much glucose is in your system. So my A1C level is below what they consider to be diabetic, and I don't have to use insulin. My pancreas is still producing insulin. But what I wanted to ask you is this, because you mentioned that it's predominantly
Black people getting type 2 diabetes.
Yeah, but and I'm not sure what
you say once again. Is it quiero? How you say once in Spanish? I forgot. No, I think quiero is like, I forgot.
I'm trying to figure that out because I understand like it's going to be in places. Well, for instance, China has had a huge surge since 2000. They went from like 5% to 20% in the last 20 years.
All right. So anyway, when you trying to learn Spanish or brush up, when you speak, like be conscious of what you say and try to take a mental note or even write down. Like I just said, write down the verbs you find yourself using, right? So do something like this. So what I would do is this. Here's what I would do. I did it with chess. This is what I would do. This is how you get a percentage for yourself. So I would say, okay, I got it in white. Here's what I would do. On the Spanish, ones to come to the Spanish sessions. Want, that's a verb, right? Where's the pipe? Where's the pipe? Swazi, oh, there it is. Okay. Once, let's say right. Let's say do. So then what you should do when you see yourself saying those verbs over and over and over, next you want to keep a score on how often you say these things, right? So then you go here. So you might have said once, let's say 9 times in an hour. You said right maybe 3 times. You might have said do maybe 15 times, right? So this is a good way to keep track of the verbs that you might want to commit to memory. The ones that you find yourself using the most. So right, you probably got escribe, you probably could just ignore that one and go with want, do, and the verbs you find yourself saying the most, and then you work on conjugating those things, those verbs, and you find yourself with little Spanish phrases. Real easy. Okay.
So some of it's lifestyle. I mean, a lot of it's lifestyle. Some of it is poor diet. Some of it is, and I understand, like we're talking.
But how you say the? I know how to say quiero, but how do you say the infinitive? Let's see. There we go. Spanish dict. Yeah, I tell you guys, if you're trying to do Spanish, this is the one to go to. So once. There it is. Yep, you're right. How do you say this shit?
Querer.
Oh, querer.
Querer.
Querer. Okay, cool. Got it. Quiero. Quiero is I want. Got it. I want. So we dealt with this right here. 2 verbs in a row. The first one is conjugated. The second one can't be conjugated. So this is literally saying, I want to eat chocolate. Okay, so querer. Okay, I got it. Just come back to memory.
Talking about the good stores being in white people's neighborhood. I can't afford, and I don't. I can't. I go to Walmart for shopping, and I know it's horrible. But I can't afford it.
Nah. You can't hate on Walmart. Walmart getting hip. At least, like I got my Walmart together. Listen, I'm telling y'all about this running down on the manager thing. Get your store together. Walmart will get your vegan items. Take your manager, walk him to the vegan freezer. There's a vegan freezer section in Walmart. Walk him over there, tell him what you want in there. They're going to put it in there.
Yeah, but the second you go to like Whole Foods, you understand why you're at Walmart. Because it's expensive. But
and here's the thing. People should only start out like that. You know what I'm saying? Because Whole Food is an easy place to find stuff. But the thing is this. When we're born and raised, we don't realize that we learn the culture of fried food, meat, pasta, whatever the case may be, that it is we eat. So, I don't know your nationality. What's your nationality, brother?
I'm just a white guy, man.
You got to be Italian, German, Irish.
I'm mixed French.
He's the other white guy, Inky. He's the other white guy.
French, English.
Okay. But for instance, like Italians, they doing a lot of pasta and meat all day, right? Black folks, we claim soul food, but we eat Chinese. We eat everybody else's food. But the point I'm making is you're raised in your food paradigm, and you learn naturally without having to look where the restaurants are for the good stuff that you've been taught to eat, where the supermarkets are, what's this, that, and the other. The moment you try to do something different, we forget that we have to relearn a whole culture. So you got to relearn now where the restaurants is, where the fly cooks is, like how they was having that question, who made the best vegan? Now you got to start doing that. You got to figure out, because a lot of times people will try to switch over and they'll go to a vegan restaurant or a vegan chef that don't know what they're doing. They done burnt up the food, or they didn't prepare it well, or they didn't season it properly. And so it tastes bad. And they go, I don't like vegan food. And it's like, hold on, family. Don't just write off vegan food, because even in the world of, like, say, for instance, meat.
They do it with tofu.
You can go somewhere and somebody can make spaghetti and it tastes horrible. You know what I'm saying? And spaghetti could be your favorite food. You don't stop eating spaghetti after you taste somebody who messed up the spaghetti. No, you just go, I don't eat their spaghetti anymore.
That's a fact, because you got different veggies. Some veggie burgers are good, like Garden,
supermarkets,
the Garden brand veggie burger.
Shopping is a major thing. You know what I'm saying? We got to learn. When I first started, like as a part of traveling from the Bronx downtown to Harlem, I used to go to that Whole Food. I used to take the D train or the A train right there to 59th Street and go right down on Central Park West to that Whole Food right there a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because they had little benches in there. You could sit down and eat a little something.
Okay, so
but as I learned better, I learned where I could find my produce for cheaper. Then I started learning where I could get these supplements cheaper. Then I said, Amazon going crazy. Amazon, I can grocery shop on Amazon.
Wait, hold on, hold. Where has Decent been? Decent, are you serious? Look, this is Spanish 1, this is Spanish 2. So this was yesterday, or whatever day it was. Yeah, that was yesterday. This was 5 hours ago. Hey, where you been at? Okay, see? So, I'm gonna do the, I gotta remember what's that called. Okay, so we got the. Okay, so I know what it's called now. This is called the stem. The COM is the stem, and the ER is the definitive verb. So I know what it's called now. Here we go. So if I wanted, so that is to eat, okay? So now if I wanted to say I eat, I take off the ER, I add the O, for como. Okay, if I want to say you eat, I take off the ER and I add E, just the E. Remember, there's no A because it's an ER verb. So when it's an ER verb, we add the E, no longer the A. So it's a come, you eat. If I want to say we, look at the digits down there. He's fluent on the low. Estoy bueno, no man. Gracias. Y usted cómo estás? Eat, including myself with the group. Emos, no longer amos, because the ER verb, emos. All right. If I want to say they eat, the group excluding myself, en, no longer an. And I was saying they, but this is the you all verb, right? So I believe it's the same. The en is the same for you all and the they verb. So anyway, the com of comer, that's called the stem. That's the stem part of the verb. That doesn't change. The er changes. The ar and the ir changes. That's the infinitive part of the verb. That changes to, and that's called conjugation once you change it. All right. Anyway, yeah, we've been there.
Amazon is a wrap. So then you start just putting your stuff together where you go, okay, well, we get milk and our bread from over here, but we might get our produce from over here. And, so you just got to learn through it and get to that space where you start to get more the culture down pack in terms of plant-based, and you learn where to cheat. The sales. No, I raised 5 babies by myself with no help. You know what I'm saying? They mama gives me $0, zero help. I cannot survive in whole food like this. If I had to survive in whole food, I would be back on chicken and you know what I'm saying? I was already on fish and spaghetti. I'd be back on meat. You know what I'm saying? Like so. Yeah, you gotta figure out the
like first of all, I don't know how you if you don't know where you're looking.
Ho. Let me put the brakes on you for a second.
In New Orleans and everything, you get overwhelmed. Like first of all, I don't know how you feel about like I started doing things like because it's so hard, right? I mean, if you don't know where you're looking, I'm down in New Orleans and everything's fried and things like that.
Brakes on you for a second. And funny bus with that and promote the doc. But the American Healer documentary is all over the internet. You just type in American Healer documentary, it'll pop up somewhere. Shout out to Crumb TV. Shout out to Hocus 4/5. Those are like the guys really been hosting and promoting them. But we went down and we targeted New Orleans because New Orleans, I'm not sure if they still #1 for cancer.
Yeah.
Is New Orleans still the cancer cap? Okay.
Yeah, Southern Louisiana. Yep.
Boom. So they the cancer capital, you know what I'm saying? And then, we down there, black folks, we like, hold on, we got to get down there because urban kryptonite is like, yeah. So we get down there, right? And it's late night. You know what I'm saying?
Documented hate American Nazis full.
We know, I know where we at. You know what I'm saying? We checking into our Airbnb like 10, 11 o'clock. Everybody hungry. So they like, to go out and try to find something. I'm like, hold on. We ain't got no hammers down here. You know what I'm saying?
Charlottesville.
If you don't know what a hammer is, that's a firearm. I'm like, we don't have any, we don't have we don't have our hood pass. That's a hood pass. You know what I'm saying? We don't have our travel papers. We're not ready to, at 11 o'clock in New Orleans, we might just want to be hungry till the morning. I'm just saying it's safer to just be hungry in the room. But we saw a gas station across the street. So we like, look, we just gonna all go. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna roll over there deep to the gas station. We should be good.
You know what's funny? When I be sharing those pedophile, never mind. I said 2 words in one. I'm gonna say the ped word and predator at the same time. Anyway, when I be sharing the predator videos, do you know they got a Facebook group? They got a Facebook group. And they like to ban, like my groups, they be like, all right, watch the content. Are we gonna make sure the information is correct? We're gonna ban your group. And Facebook allows a predator, a funny, a Mickey Mouse group. They allow these groups. They talk in codes. Facebook has to know all about it. And these things are alive and well. That's an alley for indigenous black men. Indigenous, you should have known about that. That's your claim. How come I never heard about it? But you told me 2 years ago, I get it. So, and then you got groups like this, the Nazis talking all their crap, and they could be on YouTube talking crap, they could be on Instagram, they could be on Facebook, and they never get banned. canceled? Why don't the American Nazis get canceled from all social media, right? They're a domestic terrorist group. Isn't America against foreign and domestic terrorisms? Terrorists, right? How are they so tolerant with these domestic terrorists? It's beyond me.
There, come back, whatever's there, snack, and we'll just deal with that to the morning.
ENQI'S is
We get to the gas station and we looking around, try to see what we could grab in there, because obviously what we're gonna grab, that's
so now, spoiler, no ma'am. Yeah, so we're gonna definitely do that's coming up. I think it's after the Spanish adjective, the ser, and estar, to be, the two to be's. Yep, that's coming up. One is condition and one is, what's the other one called? One is condition, that's estar, and the other one is, what's the term they use for it? I forgot. One is condition, the other one is like, exactly, like the doctor is estar, means like equal to. And the star's condition, like the apple can change. So if you say the apple is green, that's set. If you say the apple is changing to green, that's a star, from what I know.
Nutritious.
Stop now.
This is Deep Sentinel Security.
Leave her alone.
Stop now.
I'm notifying the police.
Leave her alone.
Yeah.
It's in the gas station. You know what I'm saying? And
stop. Do not home invade that house. They're like, yeah. I'm calling the police.
I'm looking at the chips. I'm trying to see what they, and I turn around and I seen the craziest thing that I had ever seen in a store, ever for consumption. Still, I had never seen no crazy shit like this in my life.
What is it?
And immediately I figured out right then why New Orleans, at least to me, you know what I'm saying? Because I got supreme mathematics always on my mind.
That means you're pseudo, okay? Supreme mathematics is a bunch of bullshit. There you go. Supreme mathematics. This is what he's talking about when he says supreme mathematics. Come on. Knowledge, wisdom, understanding. Culture, freedom, empowerment, refinement, equality, God, built, destroyed, born, cipher. That's what he's talking about when he says, look what it says. Let me make it, it says right here, supreme mathematics. So it sounds like he said something deep just now. So it lets you know how off he is. Like he said it like it was like calculus. Look at this guy.
Me. You know what I'm saying? Because I got supreme mathematics always on my mind.
And that's what he had in his mind. What I just showed, that's supreme mathematics, okay? The supreme alphabet, supreme mathematics from the nation and gods of earth, the 5%ers. That's what he's talking about. So he got supreme mathematics, but to him, that meant, because in that little community, to know the supreme wisdom, right? The math, you're seen as brilliant, right? You could not know anything about any STEM, right, in your life. But as long as you know the math and the alphabets, you're God. You're God, son.
To me, you know what I'm saying? Because I got supreme mathematics always on my mind. No matter what it is, it's always filtered through that lens.
That makes it pseudo.
Supreme mathematics. So I turn around and I see literally a pyramid of jars. And you from New Orleans, so you can't lie. You know this, what I'm about to say is a real thing. A pyramid of jars.
Conspiracy.
From the floor stacked up to my height. I'm 6 foot tall. 6 foot tall of literal pig faces. They got pig faces in a jar, the whole face, like as if they chopped off the head, took out the skull and the brain, and they put the whole face in a jar. I was good. I was like, yo.
Oh, yeah. He definitely, Diceman, got his RBG check. Yeah. Guaranteed. Facts.
I'm good. My appetite is gone. I don't need nothing to eat. This shit crazy. Now I know what my lecture is going to be about tomorrow. I know what I'm talking to these people about. What is like, this is the, and then the next day now we down there, right? So before we start moving around, and this is where I knew it was super crazy. Before we start moving around, you know, cats want to get groomed up, get fresh. You know, we get in the barbershop. They got a big sign in the front of the barbershop talking about 3 for $10. They got the pigs in the barbershop. I said, what the? I said, this is it. This is it right here. And I never seen nothing that cannibal.
This is it. That's what's causing the cancer, I guess.
Crazy. That was like cannibalism. That was like, it was just, hey, that was crazy for me. So yeah, that New Orleans thing is nuts.
Can eat sometimes in some of these. I was gonna ask you is, I don't know. First of all, why do you think? I mean, why are you saying? There's two questions. I want to know how you feel about Ezekiel, because I started substituting things like I said. Well, okay, Ezekiel bread kind of works for me. You know what I mean? It doesn't spike my. What's that?
It's a better quality
bread.
Yeah,
that's what it boils down
to. It doesn't spike, you know, give me my spikes and insulin and things like this. I wanted to ask you how you felt about the Ezekiel bread. And I also want to say, so what is your take on that? Is it because, is it poverty driven that it's affecting the black people more? Or is it because I'm saying like, or is it lifestyle difference because it's spreading around the world at this point? Or is it just what's in our food? Okay.
It does come down to genetic differences. It does come down to some genetic differences with the damage that the high levels of circulating sugar will cause.
Yeah.
So, but the poverty, obviously, the poor choices, the poor options, the poor education, I think those things are greater impact on you than the genetic differences. I think the number one cause is ignorance and superstition, because people don't know any better. You know what I'm saying? Like if you grow up in a space where they got pig faces and this is a regular snack, you know what I'm saying? Where little kids waiting to get a haircut and, you know, you grab them a soda out the refrigerator, a Pepsi, and you grab them a jar of pig face. Bruh, homeboy is dead. You know what I'm saying?
Can I speak on this a little
That's
bit?
the mathematics right there.
It's hormones, everything.
That's the mathematics. A pig face jar. He never said what was in it. He never tested it, but a soda in a pig face jar and you're dead. Wow. That's the supreme mathematics, the lenses he was talking about.
Be messed up. Go ahead, sis.
Yeah, you know, I do want to put this out here that, you know, in Japan and China, I'm going to use Japan because you said soda. They drink a lot of soda. There's a lot of, you know, different types of consumption of shellfish. There's pork. Pretty much anything's game in a lot of countries like Japan and China. And processed food. So I did want to throw out.
Don't forget France. Don't forget France, because France is insane. If you see how much alcohol, bread, and pastry that they consume, you just can't even fathom how they're not way sicker than we are in the States.
Right. And that's where I was going with that, because they're not sicker than let's say the American. I'm just going to focus on the American Black population. And I did want to take it back to what I found in my research, that it is really there is a lot of influence on the not just talking about ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, that can affect later on in life, that makes people sick. They have a lot of chronic illnesses, cardiovascular issues. So I know we're talking about eating and diet, but for me, I'm noticing it goes back to emotional state. A lot of that has to do with stress.
That's what you notice? How many Japanese you actually surveyed to notice something like that? Come on.
I mean, and then epigenetic sensitized, like Dr. Inky even was talking about the cortisol out there in our
things I had to learn early. I used to say moms, you know what I'm saying? So I take that domestic violence thing serious. Stabbed in the chest in an argument, you know what I'm saying? But
oh my God, sorry to hear that.
things serious. Neighbor, and me and him had so many things. In greatness, my homeboy Ike. And me and him had so many things that we shared from the neighborhood. He was killed by his children's moms. You know what I'm saying? So I take that domestic violence thing serious.
Oh, okay, come on.
Of our emotions, no. But going to the emotions, they definitely, you know what I'm saying? It got crazy, but a lot of our our habits are tied to our emotions. And for me to make certain changes, I had to change the pattern of how I process things. So I had to replace, and that's what I teach people to try to do.
I noticed the immigrant don't claim crazy Hebrews like BS, but they are with the check shit, credit card scam, insurance fraud, go what they said. Actually, he represents the Bible though. He does rep the Bible. I got 1 mil idea.
Do as opposed to just going cold turkey with something, replace it with something else. So for me, and thank God, I guess for all the world, people that I may have been able to help out with some of this information here or there, I replaced cigarettes and some of my other habits with books.
Come on, because I'm trying to run to Walmart and grab some oatmeal, some things for the baby goober. For the big via Diceman.
And then later on, you know what I'm saying, going to the gym and things like that, you know, healthier habits. But that's kind of how you got to do that, because humans are creatures of habit.
Oh my God.
And our emotions are what lock us into that habitual nature. And we can't function without emotion. So the thing that we need to do is kind of rewire our brain to be able to process those things with different, onto different.
All right, well, let me run out because he's ready for. See, it's tricky now. I should have been ran out because now it's getting close to his bedtime. So he'll mess around and go to sleep in the car, and then I got to wake him up. His bedtime like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Boy. Well, actually, he can go to bed early today. I got to wake up early to my dance, so I replaced my cigarette with Kush. The tobacco.
You know,
it's gonna cost you
money. If you got that, that's
ain't cheap.
Yeah, if you got
that new Will Smith autobiography. All right, so anyway, let me get out of here. Let me have to run out. It's already cold now. It's gonna get even colder possibly. We run out. I was gonna run out anyway, but now I'm motivated more than ever because I hate the cold. Actually, I like. I hate the cold. I hate the hot. All right, so we out of here. I'm gonna try to sneak back on once you go to sleep. When I sneak back on, don't get mad if halfway through I get